Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 12th, 2014 Board of Education meeting. At this time, if you would please stand with me, and with the assistance of Ashley LePage and Cameron Miller, they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, guys. Now it's time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I read this last and I didn't read. You want to read that?
I think you let Terry do it, or anyway.
Yeah, go ahead.
USD 393 will prepare its students mentally, socially, and physically to live successfully in a modern society.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is the preliminary and consent agenda. We've got a couple items to change on the consent agenda. First item we'll change, we'll move item number D, which is to approve the attached list of faculty to continue their teaching contract for next year. We'll move that down to, and make that item I under action items, and it will be approved staff listing for retention for the 2014-15 school year. Item G, just for clarification, will be approved the high school, middle school handbook for next year.
And that's just, that's an addition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else? That's it for the consent agenda? Okay, with those changes, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, it's been moved by Justin and seconded by Tally to approve the consent agenda as amended. All those in favor, raise your left hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, under item 5, which is presentations of proclamations and other recognitions, we first have Mrs. Robinson with two of her students do a presentation. We welcome you guys. Thank you for coming. And at this time, I'll turn the floor over to you.
Thank you for having us. I'm Amy Robinson. I'm a 6th grade ELA and social studies teacher. And I've brought with me Cameron Miller and Ashley LePage. We're going to talk to you about how we use iPads in the classroom. Before I let them have it, I just wanted to tell you that this is my first experience to be in a classroom and have one-to-one technology for the kids. And I could tell you all of the advantages, but I'll tell you the most important that I've seen. And that is the differentiation and the continued learning that we have. There have been times where our learning in the classroom is capped by my knowledge and my experiences, or their knowledge and their experiences, or our textbooks, questions that we can't always answer. But now, that's no longer there. We don't have to say, I don't know, that's a really good question, but I don't know. Now I can say, I don't know, let's look it up. And we keep going. And that's what we do. It's wonderful to have, we can start talking about an author and we end up in Thailand. It's just amazing where they go with it because, you know, kids, they're always asking those questions of, well, what about this, what about that? We just keep going. So that's the most phenomenal thing I've seen with the iPad. It allows us to keep going. So I'm going to turn it over to them. Who's going to go first?
Yes, I will.
Okay. I will tell you that we are going to put a couple of you to work. There is a test afterwards, so pay attention. And I'll let Cameron take it.
Do I turn on the...
Yes, please. Thank you. Oh, okay.
We better take notes.
Let's go back here. Yeah. Cameron, am I in your way? Do you need me to move?
get rid of some lights for a minute?
What you got?
This app is an app where if you like, you can find spots in the world where it's like a social studies game where you can find spots in the world and you have to guess where it is. And it gives you a description of where the area you're supposed to find. And you have to get a certain number of points for each level. Another thing is Pic Collage, an app where you can put a bunch of photos together, and we made the Roman buildings out of Legos. And then we have this website called GoGo News. We do these news stories about like just random stuff. Current events. Sorry. And then in science, we do the weather every day, and this shows the weather for Solomon, Kansas. The temperature, the air pressure, the visibility, the clouds, the dew point, humidity, rainfall, snow depth, UV, pollen, air quality, and fluid activity, and the moon phase. And that's about all I have for you.
Do you talk about all of those in science? All those different things?
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Just explain what we do.
In social studies, everybody made these posters. It's the Roman ABCs. Every letter has Roman, like an important Roman thing. Like Augustus was a famous Roman ruler, and Baltius is a sword belt that could be used as a shoulder belt.
So we use the iPads.
Yeah. And we use the iPads to help us find the definitions for all of those.
Cool. Thank you.
Sophie,
We use Picolage for this. One of the apps is called Let's Tan, and I'll show you that. And you pretty much just have to put the shapes into the white part. For English, we use Shelby, and if she assigns something, you just press the plus at the top, and you can either text something or make a note or take a picture.
Okay. Mhm.
We use this for social studies. We make flashcards to help us study. We just press study, and then it shows you that, and then if you tap it, it gives you the answer. Well, yeah. And then if you got it right, you press the check mark. Oh yeah. The iBooks we use in ELA. We're reading The Wonderful Wizard of Oz right now.
A little different than the movie, isn't
Yeah.
it? What color are the shoes?
Silver.
Silver. Do you know why they're silver?
You didn't know you were having a test, did
See, there's a test here.
Keep the test going that direction.
Oh, yeah. Overgram, we haven't really used much, but
Do you know why they changed them to rubies the first in the movie?
no.
So that you could see them better. Because
Really?
it'll stand out against the gold better than the silver.
And then just get photos either from Safari or whatever you have them from. And then you make like, it's pretty much just a collage, but it goes in a order that you want it. And we use this to like record, you can record yourself.
That was a bad day,
Looks like Wizard of Oz picture.
And then we use it for like summaries and stuff, and then you can record stuff. It makes you look like you're actually moving.
It was kind of weird.
Yeah. It looks like it. And yeah, you can make it look.
Wow.
Elf.
That's crazy.
And you can see they really get into them working. And then we use it to summarize something that we've read. They record their summary and they come and play it for me. Or I can put a question on the board and they answer it this way and they'll play it for me.
Hey Ashley, can you explain how you're able to get your iPad onto the screen?
It's done, like, you bring up the, mine usually doesn't work, but and then you press that thing down there, and then Robinson, and then mirroring is that. You have to press on mirroring.
You select what you want it to mirror to, do you?
So you can get any student you want iPad on the screen.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you both.
I use it too for, and some of my parents may have it, Remind 101. It's, you can log all of your parents into one account and then you can send out an email and you send one email and it goes to all your parents. So if we have a social studies test, I'll send out a reminder it's coming up. And so it keeps parents right with me as far as homework that's due, or tests that are coming up, or ARs due, or something like that.
And have you used it quite a bit that way?
I have, yeah.
What kind of response do you get from the parents? I mean, you get a positive response from?
I think, yes, because the kids come back and they'll say, well, my dad just texted me and I need to take my book home, and so it's a great communication
Good.
tool between parents and I, and,
Awesome.
yeah. Okay, you wanna put them to the test?
something to shock
Okay. We'll be real fast, okay?
Here's your test.
Oh,
You get to pick whoever you wanna pick on.
Not me.
not me. I won't know how to do it.
You're the one
Come on,
that, you were
Cameron.
grilling her, so I think
Yeah,
it should
pick on
be you.
Mr.
Yeah.
Goldring.
Right there.
Okay, what do I have to do?
It's the Let's Team.
Thank you.
You gonna put your mom to the test?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not me.
So you want me to
Anybody
move?
but me, Cameron.
So
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
have
take
to
that word?
figure out where.
No, I can't work that stuff.
Word.
Or just,
I was gonna do this.
yeah, that's fine.
Sorry, bro, you gotta go home sometime.
Justin's good at it.
Yeah, Justin's a good tech guy.
It's tested geography.
Oh, man.
He's like, come on, Mom.
Jogging,
Oh,
Mama.
too far.
There. Where's that?
What?
Where is it?
Yeah, you gotta,
Where's the Sistine Chapel? I should know that,
yeah,
shouldn't I?
you gotta find it.
Well, how do I find it?
Once you think you found, like, just, where is it? Like,
No pressure, this is being recorded too.
I know. My worst subject
We want you to
ever in
hold
the entire
tight.
world is geography.
very good.
Thanks.
You gotta hit that when you think.
Oh, I hit it there.
Oh, you're pretty close.
Little like
Close enough.
Where'd you guess?
Well, I just picked
She
the
guessed
spot.
in Africa.
What's that?
She guessed in Africa.
I just touched it, because I was running out of seconds. Yet I'd set 7 seconds. I don't like time ones.
Give me all the time in the world, I still wouldn't.
You should know
You're right, boy, you gotta go home now.
Yeah.
where's Mexico City.
I'm guessing.
And say, okay,
I'm trying.
You knew the answer, didn't
No.
Not that.
Oh, that,
There you
sorry.
go.
Oh, it's close.
Hang of
This
it.
is in the same country.
you? Give it to Mr. Zerby, see if he can fix it for
Yeah.
London.
London.
You know where London
me.
is?
You seems like
Well,
you get those puzzles
You
pretty
would
quick.
think.
I know where it is.
Oh, we were just talking, we both love
How
that.
many should-
I can't do it.
What's the name of that
Well, I shouldn't say I can't do it.
Tan.
Oh, yeah. Stand.
Do you see that the majority of the kids are engaged with that technology? I mean,
Yeah.
Yes. And they come in
And then
from
if you wanna switch
Next.
them.
math, still playing. They're walking down the hall.
Yeah.
They love that.
Gee, thanks.
So
Sit next.
they are, it's, engagement is,
I've noticed it
and
quite a
you
bit,
know, we're
too.
in that
Wanna
trial and error
scroll
phase
down
where
from
we're
YouTube?
learning how to
Yeah,
use
it's
them,
like
we're setting
still-
boundaries in the classroom.
Wow, it goes.
And we've come a long way from when we first started to where we are now. And so you are seeing more engagement, more academic engagement.
All right, is that what I gotta do?
You
It's-
move
You can
that, then you
see-
hit the
Oh.
green button.
I wanna just slightly.
totally being to these, I mean, I know that's kind of the
Oh,
technical goal, but I know there's a lot of hesitation on some people's
I wanna
parts
help
that there's still a place for some books to some degree. Do you foresee that?
I think we could totally, I think we could go paperless very easily. It's hard to turn loose of the books.
Right.
I'm a book person
It's a
too.
hard philosophy.
It is,
Yeah, right,
it
right.
is. But I do think that for our kids,
No, I mean that purple.
they're ready.
Oh, well.
They're ready.
They're in their comfort zone.
That's,
Yeah.
that's kinda hard to tell
Yeah.
the shape of the,
I mean, that's
I
what
wanna
we're
do another
missing,
one.
so.
Yeah, he's been telling me all about the Wizard Balls, but she
Yes.
doesn't
Boy.
know what
You know that one?
Maybe.
And
Discipline.
that was a free book.
That was mine.
So it was wonderful to have that classic book. It was free, everybody's got it.
Turkey.
So it's, yeah, it's been
Okay, let me
wonderful.
get my knife, I'll cut this one in half.
Brad, discipline wise, we had
Thank you.
35 referrals for 6th graders first semester,
That's not
22
enough.
so far throughout the year. So
Do you think it's
You can
because
make it
they're
where
more
it's time.
involved,
Oh,
no,
engaged
no,
in,
it's not
in,
that.
since they've gotten used to the
Yeah.
technology? Good.
Are they engaged like the right way? I mean, or some
You
of
know,
them
I'm
still
sure
like
there's
playing
still- there's-
games or?
As far as,
Should be
we still need
working.
staff training on some things, but I think for the majority of them, they're
They
engaged.
won't try this.
Still won't.
Oh, you got it up there?
Related to
What do I do?
population.
You're gonna go home.
Religion,
I feel like I wrote it down.
First I'm going
Gold
to
standard.
the Apple Store, and then to Kansas City.
This
and
used
then
to
I'll-
happen.
And so, and
Oh,
then
well.
the Tin Man
Tell 'em.
represents the industry.
Oh, right, I see where that one goes.
There's a lot of symbolism think it was
No, I'm not
on
gonna
What's
the
it-
east and west, we could,
Turn.
they're the kind of
Now I need another one of
Maybe
these.
your yellow one goes straight up there to the
Yeah,
left.
your yellow one can go up there.
Do you know the answer to this?
It's been a
Yep.
while since I seen that.
Oh, I
That's the
didn't know
reason,
that.
Which is
See, the yellow
Goes up
one-
there.
Oh,
The yellow one can go up there.
Press the
if I knew how to work
down there.
Then your diamond can go right there next to it if you want, so.
That's right, Todd, I wish you had it back then.
Or not diamond, but your triangle.
I mean, there's a,
I'll have to pull that. That would be great for social studies.
And I think you get 7 points.
Are most of the apps that you use,
Yeah,
Because
are
see
there you
the
a lot
go.
of
light
free
bulb?
ones? Do we have to pay for
Your
some?
orange one can
Little
go
light
straight
bulb
up.
there.
Most of what
You only
we
need
Oh,
do
tap the
for
light bulb.
Okay.
The light bulb.
sometimes they're a little bit limited to what you can do.
I'll call my
So
professors.
you-
especially if you want to get rid of the ads.
This.
Actually, good
But
job.
really,
Like everything, they want to entice you in the
There.
bottom.
Oh, that other purple one in there?
but we can do quite a bit with the
Fraud
fraudulent
What?
did you get
Turn.
it? Justin, Jessica?
I had to get
you
one
got
of
it,
you,
yeah.
yes.
I want to turn, Cameron.
There you got it.
There.
Have you noticed yet, Mom? Look behind you.
Oh. That's not good. I'm used to preschoolers now, come on.
Turn it. Do it.
You're getting lost.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
If you press the light bulb, you get a hint. And you probably.
Ooh.
Oh, I see. Move the yellow one over there and then turn that one and put that one down there.
Oh, finished. Thank you.
I think.
Then there.
There you go.
Yay!
So with that, we'll let you get back to business. But thank you for having us. Thank you for putting iPads in their hands.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It means a lot to see them used because that's just exactly what I envisioned. I don't know about anybody else, but to see that type of use and engagement.
Thanks for coming, kids.
Cameron, good job.
Go and read your
Thank you
book.
guys, it's fascinating.
Okay. Moving on, next item under 5B is board comments. Open the floor up to any board comments, if anyone has anything they'd like to say, mention.
I mentioned to Mr. Dooley before that I got lots of compliments on graduation and the way it was ran, so. For not just my family, from other people too, but nice
Yes, I
job.
thought it was very well done, very organized, and
Thought Harry did a great job speaking that.
I did too, I really.
I wasn't sure how that was gonna go, but he did a great job, I think.
yeah, I'm very pleased with it, so, had a very good attendance. So, good job. All of you,
Nice
and
calm
all the
there.
staff that helped, I mean, I know.
Yeah, that wasn't just me.
Yeah, so, a year under our belt, and everything's gone well there, so, good group of seniors too. Okay, jumping down to item number 6 under reports, we'll start with Mr. Boulder's report.
Okay, I have lots of little things I'm probably gonna kind of go through and hand to you. I'll just say on May 2nd, Mr. Dooley and I grilled out hamburgers for the students. I don't know how we got so lucky picking a nice day, because it couldn't have been more perfect that day, and I just thought the kids very appreciative, very well behaved. I think I picked up 3 pieces of trash that day, and I mean, the kids just
Wow.
cleaned up. It was just, it was nice, and I think they appreciated it. Professional development calendar, I think I sent you one of those. It's filling up more and more, but I just kind of wanted to alert you to some of the things that we've already got planned for next year in terms of our in-services. It's almost full. The only thing I really don't have is, so far, is April 6th. And we might have one change, December 19th. We're just going to kind of see how that plays out. But Mr. Dooley and I also attended a multiple measures workshop last Wednesday, as well as a McCarrell feedback meeting. The McCarrell was really kind of to go through some of the issues that we had this year with using that evaluation tool and that system, and the issues that we had, and how, I guess, trying to get a feel for how other administrators used it, what other things they ran into, issues that they had, to kind of see if we were all basically using the tool in a similar way. And we found out, it was good to just talk about, because we learned some things from each other and how to do certain things a little bit better, and so it was a good discussion. With the multiple measures workshop, it just seems like we keep getting more things to do, but the idea behind multiple measures, and I'm gonna on the 23rd, when I meet with staff before they go home, I want to kind of go over some of this with them, but multiple measures is, when you hear that, it's a reference to, in the future, we've heard that they're going to start trying to tie, with the waiver, we're going to start tying student growth to teacher evaluations, so that there's some accountability. The first year that they'll actually be able to show we'll have any unit of measure for growth will be in the 2016-2017 term. And so the next year, 2017-2018, we'll be able to compare one year to the other, to the next. And that's where you're really going to be able to maybe make some personnel decisions based upon student growth. Now, what does that mean? How do we look at that growth in terms of, do we look at it as a whole group? And really right now they're saying this is mostly focused on math and ELA, or English Language Arts. But every content area, we have to start naming what local tests we're going to use, as well as the state assessment. And so even with PE, you might have to use the presidential, what's that?
Presidential
Fitness, thank you, presidential fitness. With some of the career and tech ed, we could use the CPAS. There's just a lot of different ways. We have to come up with 2 ways we're going to measure for each subject, grade level. And so one of my new reports this summer, due by June 30th, is identifying what test we're going to use. Now we can change that, and we have a year to basically figure out what we are going to use, but there's definitely, we're definitely going to have to probably spend some money on some assessments that didn't necessarily really count on for next year. This is kind of coming about pretty quickly. So I know we've talked about using at the high school level, well actually 3rd through 12th we could use ACT Aspire in addition to state assessments for basically your core classes. But it's replacing the Plan and Explore test. There will be no more Plan and Explore test next year. However, Plan and Explore are really only for 8th grade and 10th grade. And so now you're going to potentially spend some money on the test from 3rd grade through 12th grade. Anyway, we've got some discussions to have about that. And then again, it's kind of they're kind of leaving a local decision as to how we measure that student growth. Do we look at the individual child and how much they're growing from year to year by a percentage? Are we looking at a whole group of kids and how they're growing? I think a lot of that would depend upon the size of the school. You know, I think you're going to look at it differently in an urban setting versus a rural setting. But a lot of those decisions will have to be made locally, and at what percentage that is part of the teacher evaluation, those things we'll have to make a decision on. But they're saying it should be at least 20% of the teacher tied to the teacher eval, the student growth. So 20% evaluation would be student growth from about 2017 on. So. I've registered our school for schooltoolbox.com, which is an online school supply packaging company. So basically we submit our supply lists, and then they can package it, and if you go online, you can register, and they'll just send you exactly what's on that supply list, so you don't have to go to stores. The middle school and the high school are done. I've submitted the list for the elementary. They've sent some stuff back to me on quotes for those, but I'm gonna have to meet with my faculty tomorrow. We might have to cut some of the stuff on our list to make it a little bit more reasonable. So.
How competitive are they on pricing as far as, using like an Amazon or any one of the others?
I thought what they had, I think the high school, what they had was about $24, $25. The middle school was a little bit more, and I don't remember what,
It was at 30-some,
what,
31 or something.
36, I think it was about 36. But I think that we really ought to try and keep, if that's what you're going for, trying to keep the
No,
cost
just like,
to 40.
say the cost of a notebook versus the cost of a notebook somewhere else. Are they
You know, they
charging
don't really
premium
know,
or?
they really don't identify exactly what the cost is per
Okay.
each.
It's a package deal.
It's a package deal, and there's your price if you want to get it there, or if you want to go fight the crowds at Walmart or wherever you want to go.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think you're paying for convenience. more
Yeah,
than anything.
yeah.
And in that program, the school gets a percentage?
Yes,
or-
we could. They allow us to use it as a fundraiser, so if we want to attach a percentage to it, that they could mark it up so that we could get, but I don't think that we should use it in that way right now. I think we just want to use it more as a convenience, because we have other fundraisers that we use a lot, and I don't want to, I personally don't want to attach that to, means start a school is expensive enough for families to raise the price on that. School closed, you got so many other things that they've got to invest in, so I don't want to use it as a fundraiser, I just want to use it for convenience. Elementary schedule, I think I gave you an attachment for that. For the most part, this is pretty well set. I would like to change kindergarten and first grade a little bit, and get those PE and music times offset, but it just didn't figure into the schedule this for next year right now. If you offset PE and music in each of the, if first, let's look at like second grade, PE is offset with music, so they alternate every day. The advantage to that is that those teachers then have a collaboration time where they can plan together. And so that's really what I'd like to have for kindergarten and first grade. It doesn't look like it's going to work out in the schedule for next year. This year it did. And there are some reasons for that, but we don't need to go into all that. I'm just kind of letting you know what that looks like. I'm going to pass this around. Looked at doing some radio advertising, and met with Katie Reese again from Rockingham Radio, and what we did was we looked at doing some advertising trial for about 2 months, basically from we've written down here the 19th of May is when we kind of want to start, and about the 13th of June. We may add a little bit to that. But what I've passed around to you are some, basically the scripts of the 3 different commercials we're looking at using. One of them is kind of a general cut, which would use some student voices, 3 to 4 voices. I think that's really kind of appealing to people. The elementary school cut, kind of advertising our elementary school, and then a middle school, high school cut. We probably need to work on some of the wording there just a little bit. I'm seeing something right now. I edited a little bit, but now I'm seeing some other things we need to edit. But we're looking at potentially recording this this week, Wednesday, Thursday. And It should, basically, we're looking at, let's see, what was it, about 150, a little more than 150 commercials per month, so, on 2 different stations, and Dean Ann has some actual radio experience. She used to do some stuff, so I actually had her sit down with me and meet with her to kind of go over go over this, but we got it down to a price that we thought was very within our means, and we're gonna give it a shot and see what comes from it.
That's on 2 stations or 3?
Yes,
2
2.
stations.
We brought it down to 2 so we could just kind of focus a little bit more. 95.5 The Rock and 92.7 The Zoo. And The Zoo is currently the #1 rated radio station among kind of that parental age, young parents, middle age. In Saline County, that's the #1 radio station, and The Rock is pretty popular. It's I think up in the top. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 or 4 exactly, but you know, I think I sent you something saying I'm not sure because I don't necessarily usually listen to those stations, but you know, and her advice is you know you can't look at necessarily what you listen to. You look at what that age group most of them are listening to, and she's right. You got to take the emotional, personal experience out. So we're gonna give it a shot.
Are we locked into any time frame, or is it just a month at a time? Or?
We wanted to do it over 2 months.
Okay.
We thought rather than just do a month, I thought since we're gonna try and start it here at the end of school, up till about enrollment time is basically when it's gonna run, and I thought that should give us kind of a better idea of, you know, what, and then we hope to, it's really hard to gauge the results of advertising, you know what I mean? You know, we talked about that, but we also, we could survey at enrollment, any kids that are out of district that come in, we could find out if they've heard us on the radio, or if they, you know, how they learned about us. We could survey that, kind of find out, maybe give us an idea.
If they hear the ad and call in to ask questions, will they speak to anybody?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even after, like during the summer? They'll speak?
Yes, I want to. That's kind of the goal of this, is that if they do call, or when they call, I'd like to talk to them, and I'd either Mr. Dooley or me, and maybe even Mr. Cope if he's on board. But we want to facilitate tours if we can, or invite them in and talk. If we can. So. Slogan that we kind of decided on was the high school slogan. I hope that's all right. Learning today, leading tomorrow. At the end of each commercial. So. Okay, we'll give it a shot and see where we go from there. Let's see. In regards to the elementary school, field trips should be done by the end of the week. We have kids going to a variety of places, and some are already done. Field day is May 21st, the day before school, and that's from 12:30 to 3. So if you'd like to kind of see the kids, the young kids kind of have a big track meet, I guess.
What was that date again?
May 21st, from 12:30 to 3. If you have elementary kids, they should be coming home with notes in their backpacks. In fact, they might have already. I think we've had 1 or 2 go home already, but we're doing our awards assembly the afternoon of May 22nd. And thought I'd send these around if you'd like to kind of take a quick look. These are the elementary yearbooks. And we're gonna do a little bit of a yearbook signing at the end of the year with our elementary for about a half an hour. The last day, I think it's a real, it's a neat thing to have your yearbook before you go home for the summer. And give kids an opportunity to just,
There's space in the back for,
They're really well put
yeah,
together.
excellent. Really very nice.
but Jennifer Cross and Lori Brubaker did that, and they did it in a very short amount of time, very limited amount of time. And we got them a lot sooner than we thought we would. I'm not quite sure. They did a phenomenal job. The pictures look great. They're
by far
clear.
the best ones we've done.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. And before the school year's out.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They did a great job on it.
That's really cool.
Very well put
That's
together.
very nice.
Wow.
I don't know if you've heard about Lori Brubaker's baby, but we believe that Max is getting better, and yeah, it's been a struggle. I'm sure that I can't imagine what they're going through, but
We've been seeing
yeah,
things
he's
over
about 6 weeks early. Yeah, he was good size, 7 pounds when he was born.
Wow.
Almost-
Do they know how he got the,
meningitis and rotavirus. I don't
Alec was in
know.
the hospital twice for rotavirus when he was a baby, so, with the meningitis.
Well, no, just
recently.
just recently. He's been at Children's Mercy and influenza.
We'll keep the thoughts and prayers coming, maybe it'll, sure it'll work out.
Check your emails, because Mrs. Cross has been updating,
Yeah, I
and,
saw those, but I wasn't quite sure what it was.
and they have a website of things that they need, or donations, or anything like that, so.
Awesome.
On the professional development, I assume that's the calendar for in-service and things.
Yeah, that we kind of,
Have you got any place in there for that active shooter training?
that's the intruderology crisis prevention.
Right,
Okay,
good.
yeah, December 19th, yeah.
Awesome. I know the school's been a little slow to get that.
Yeah, in fact, it was
Not
one of
not
those,
us, but all schools
Right.
across.
it was something I wanted to do this year, but we just kind of done too much training there at the beginning. It was
Well,
like,
I know when we designed that from the Homeland Security standpoint, we knew it was gonna be tough to get it done. Because at the time that came about, most everybody had their schedules already planned. so,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so that's good. Anything else?
Those are I think that's
That's your story, and you're sticking to it?
my
What
story.
time does the awards assembly start on the 22nd, did you say?
1 o'clock. I didn't say.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, I think we
No.
got, it's on down here in the agenda,
Oh,
so.
okay.
yeah.
My little angel won't tell me anything.
Mr. Borden, that's
Well,
in the-
I'm not sure that how much we've really told parents on the awards assembly yet. I'm sorry.
And that's in the, gym?
Yeah, it'll be in the, no, actually, where do we go? I think we're gonna do it down in the
It's usually in the.
high school gym.
after
High school gym.
They leave it set up for.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna do it in the high school gym.
22nd.
So many things. Lots going on here at the end of school, and
That's great, isn't it? Okay, Mr. Dooley, you're on.
All right. In the board report that I emailed was just some attached documents, was the student discipline report.
I didn't get one, did you guys?
I didn't get one either.
Get one.
what
It's
did
okay,
you get?
just go through it. It's
Just
fine.
go through
It
it.
is, yeah.
I didn't
All right,
get his-
just
his
go over.
report.
Oh,
Did you not get it through email?
Uh-uh.
What?
That's all right, just go
That's
over
all
yours.
Well, I emailed it to Mr. Boulder and had him proofread it. Was I supposed to send that back to him?
I guess I thought you'd already sent it. We've had so many.
Well, I will email it to you tomorrow.
That's all right.
No, just go through it,
Go through it,
yeah.
that's fine.
Okay,
Your personality and explanation is much better than reading
All
the
right.
paper.
well, I'll go through it all then. Final examinations, we had senior final exams on Wednesday, May 7th, and Thursday, May 8th. Our freshmen through juniors will take final exams on Wednesday, May 21st, and Thursday, May 22nd. we will run block scheduling, and we did for the senior finals. Just combining 2 periods throughout the day, give them a little bit extra time for the finals. Pepsi donation, we received a donation from Mahaska Pepsi Bottling Company for $3,329 for utilizing Pepsi products. What they do is, instead of, they constantly get requests to donate or requests for, they just take 30 cents off every case that you purchase and put it into a big pool and then split it between the area schools. So we got $3,329, and we're going to use it for student, whatever we need to use it for, student instructional use. If we need to put it back into concession, we'll do that as well. And some important events coming up. Obviously, we had graduation Saturday. I thought it went very well. A lot of time from a lot of people planning and preparing, and it turned out well. On tomorrow night, we have the high school athletic banquet at 6 o'clock in the gym, high school gym. And then on Wednesday, we have the middle school banquet at 6 p.m., athletic banquet. And then Monday, May 19th, we have the academic and fine art banquet. And then Tuesday, we have the 8th grade promotion, and then the high school academic award banquet. That's 7 o'clock. Summer school, we're gradually getting summer school registration into the office. I would think approximately 10 to 12 kids will be utilizing our summer school program through Edgenuity. The cost is $15 per class, which is very cheap compared to what a lot of organizations use for their summer school programs. In the board report that I thought I emailed, apparently didn't go through, was Samuel Yocker's his junior scholastic article is Where's Matt Man? In fact, when he was leaving school today, his box, his Wii U that he won, came shipped to the office. But it's a national magazine, and there's a page in there just on him and his report that he did, and his picture that he drew, and then it lists all the runner-ups from all the different states. So I'll share that with you.
I know reading your weekly report about that.
Yeah, I sent it out.
I didn't realize how big of a deal that really is.
It is. That's a national magazine.
Yeah.
A lot of schools throughout the country purchase and get. So I think
Had to put some work into that. So.
he did. He's a very talented artist. His sister is a very talented artist too. They're both pretty artistic. So district calendar. We've held 3 different meetings over the last 3 weeks to add events to the district calendar for next year. And I notified staff that is involved with an organization, a student organization, that they need to be in attendance at the meetings in order to have something put on the calendar. The hope is by June 1st to have everything that is going to take place in our school district on a school calendar next year. And I'm sure there's going to be some last minute additions, preschool. And then with Mr. Cope coming with elementary, obviously he's not here. But as far as the big events, not to have any confusion on music concerts and banquets, and to have those put in the calendar, nothing on Wednesdays where it's conflicting with different organizations. And we just were kind of had that situation happen just because some of the things weren't planned in the past. So next year it'll be a lot more smooth and organized as far as the district calendar. It's what we sit around and I have conflicts over the calendar for March of 2015. I said, well, it's a lot better to have those conversations now instead of in February of next year and having to change people's schedule at the last second. Our May students of the month were freshman Bailey Finmore and 7th grader Kayla Webb. Enrollment for next year is finalized. In fact, Mrs. Amba's having our students that are taking concurrent classes are taking their Compass test. Today they did English Language Arts. Tomorrow they'll do math. They have to have a high enough score to qualify and take concurrent classes through Cloud County on the Compass test or their ACT test. So we're getting that done. That's really about it. There's a couple other items that I didn't want to talk about, so I'll send you this tonight when I get back to my office. So I apologize, I thought it went out. That is it.
It's much better in person.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda under committee reports is Recreation Commission. This is one of those months where we don't have a meeting until Wednesday, so we haven't really done anything since our last meeting. Although I've had a number of people approach me and talk to me, not necessarily rec board members, but about the baseball softball thing after we talked about it last month, or a couple of months, a little bit. And I don't know where we're at on that. I know it's tough to try to get something going, but in the preliminary scheme of things, I guess I would be interested to get a feel, and I think the only way that could work in the future, whether it's next year, year after, whatever, is if we partner with the rec commission on some of those expenses and things. And I'm interested in you guys' feelings, so I know what to express at the meeting Wednesday, so.
I don't think it's feasible right now, just the amount of cost. You know, part of the thing where we set up and or sat down and had to prioritize a list of everything we've got going on. I guess I'll be the bad guy of the group and say I don't see it being able to happen the next at least 2 to 3 years, just because of the expenditures. If we factor in coaches, subs, transportation, you know, everything down to who's taking care of the field. I personally don't see it. That's my thoughts. So.
Can't say that I disagree with you. I mean, as much as I want to do it.
Oh, I would love to be able to offer every possible avenue we can. Now, like something, for example, when they brought up cross country, extremely low startup costs, something like that is pretty easy to work in. When we're talking about everything, even if we told every student out there, you know, jerseys, you know, uniforms 100% on you, we still have such a massive startup cost and maintenance for everything. I just don't see it in the next, at least in the short term. I would love to see it eventually, but I'm saying the next 2, 3, 5 years, something like that. It may be a long shot. So.
I got some news from Jim that those league schools that do have it, that and those that are kind of in our district right now have all got their 2-year contracts for the next 2 years. They got one. There's one out there that could probably give us a game, you know, if in the next over those next 2 years, but they pretty much signed their contracts. So I think we just need to do some more planning, and if that's a direction that, you know, let's look at next year and maybe start looking at a long range plan and seeing where we can fit it in at some point. When we decide that we're ready to make that move, make it known to the league so that they're prepared to include us in a schedule.
I'd be good with that, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to coordinate with the rec commission because we're gonna have to have a field that's in
Right.
shape, and that's not gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take a couple of years to get all that done too, if that's,
Yeah, I would agree.
you bring up a lot of good points that.
And we have a track program that we need to spend some money up at the track. I mean, that program is pretty well attended. I mean, for middle school and high school, hopefully it'll keep going up for high school as they move up. But we got some stuff we need to work on up there, I think. It's gonna be.
And with the cross country, is that something that we'll
Well, I thought we were at least going to entertain the idea when he came back with,
see if we had interest?
yeah, and at least with a better idea of what the startup costs would be and everything involved. It seemed like it was fairly low, but also he's going to let us know some of the distances so we can kind of maybe calculate our mileage and everything else that's going to cost us some of these needs. But, yeah.
The other thing is, junior football is registering, and Mr. Atkinson has agreed to be our commissioner for that as well, for the home games, so as always, he's willing to take on whatever he asks, sometimes maybe too much, but we're excited to get that going again this year, so. The
Salvation
Salvation
Army.
Army football, yeah.
How is that numbers wise looking?
That's what I
That
heard, it's pretty
I
low.
don't know, yeah.
Afraid of that.
I don't
That's
know.
Kobe, and he
I won't
did.
know till Wednesday night, so.
That's what worries me about baseball too, is sustainability. Do we have, because some classes like are full of athletes, some classes, just a couple kids go. That's kind of worrisome too.
Yeah, with baseball, it's all four grade levels,
Right.
and 12
So
kids
freshmen
on a
would play
team.
with seniors too?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's all one.
Just like football and
Just like
track
football.
and basketball and everything else.
Well, I guess that's true. I guess they do that.
If they're good enough to play on the varsity squad, then, you know, yeah.
Although, hopefully no more Wednesday night on that, and I might just email you, and then you can email out to everybody,
Okay.
you know, what's going on with that, so that if anybody knows someone who needs to register for Salvation Army, you can get the word to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because Kobe's told me
Have
that
you
there's not
decided on coaches
as many
for
kids
that?
that really want it.
As of last meeting, they did not, right? So hopefully again on a more Wednesday.
That's fourth and fifth grade, right?
Or fifth and sixth.
Fourth, fifth, and
Oh, it is
sixth.
6?
Yeah, yeah, because sixth
Sixth
can't
grade
play.
can't
Oh, no.
Sixth can't play.
participate.
I have no
Yeah.
comment.
So, okay, after-school program, Ms. Hammer.
Well, we've been really busy. Our theme seems to be butterflies. If you've been down to Bushes, you've seen our butterflies that we colored and cut out and hung down there, and they're very gracious to display our arts and craft project. They seem to enjoy it as well. We spent the month waiting for our painted ladies our caterpillars to become painted ladies, and over the weekend, of course, they did. And then we were worried about, are they going to live long enough that we can turn them out before something happens? So Friday we turned them out. It was a lovely day for it. Kids had a ball letting them fly, and they all had names, and they all got encouraged out of the butterfly house, so it was a big event. Mr. Daly and his son Francis came one day and helped us plant our pots on either side of the entrance door to the preschool and the after-school building. We have two beautiful pots of flowers that greet everybody every day, and the kids have the task of watering, so they fight over the watering can and slop it from the sink all the way out the door, but we do get some water on the plants. And then they also brought their etymology displays and showed the kids how to catch butterflies and spiders and bugs and how to kill them and how to pin them, and so that was big fun. They thoroughly enjoyed that, and I think Mr. Daly enjoyed coming and making that presentation to the kids. They were very attentive that day. Anita was here this month from Rolling Hills, and of course we made Mother's Day cards and sent those home. And we had two graduation parties, one for Mr. Zach and one for Miss Lindsay, and we had cupcakes and presents and fun, and that was a lot of fun for the kids. They enjoyed that. We hate to let them graduate, because now we have to start all over training kids again, but we'll get some good kids, I know we will. We had another new student join us today, so we're back up to 20. And we had a democratic process. We are going to the zoo. You can't beat the snakes, no matter how hard I tried. I gave them every brochure and every speech I could come up with, and we're going to see the snakes, so we're going to do that the last week of school. We had a really good year. Looking forward to next year.
Thank you. Okay, moving down to item number 7, discussion action items. First item A is to approve bills. And the bills were sent out by email.
Snail mail.
Snail mail, yeah, well,
Snail mail.
both I guess. No, they were snail mail, yeah. Sorry.
The expense budget report just kind of gives you an idea of where we're at. Not too bad there in terms of our balances. Some a little bit, obviously, and we've talked about this. You guys have seen this. Some things we just had to spend a little more money on this year than we have in the past. I think the thing that I would like to call your attention to is on the cash summary report. Out of Fund 14, food service. You can see that we're down about 27,000, which is more than we have been in the past. That's not a true telling. It should come back up a little bit. However, I think just, you all know, you see it at the grocery stores, food costs have continue to rise. And so I think that's part of it. We need to look at that again, I think next year, and kind of keep a little bit closer eye on how, make sure we're organized enough and keeping those balances down where they should be. But I do know just in our food costs, where we have them lined up, are lower than the state would like us, than the state average. And I can say that, you know, previous experience, our food costs were per student were higher than what they are here. And so I think, you know, we don't raise a lot, but I think we need to look at potentially bumping our prices up a little bit more, just trying to get closer to that state average. So
The 10 cents that you get
yeah,
proposed here, how
we'll still
much
be
will
about
that
30.
generate?
We'll still be about 30 cents lower than the state average, or what they're.
How will that affect the 27,000 at this point?
I don't have those figures. I'm sorry.
10 cents enough.
Well, it'll
Oh.
only be on the full pay meals.
Yeah, it's only on the full paying meals, but and that's.
I think you go much higher, people aren't gonna pay for it.
No.
Can't afford it now.
You know, to bump up a quarter, I think that's a lot. I think 10 cents is reasonable and more doable.
Well, and the ones that are on assisted funding.
Right.
If we don't bump it up, we don't get that extra assist either, right?
No,
We get a
the
flat amount from them.
no, the state has a flat amount that they just they fund that. So
We'll recoup a little bit this summer on the federal program, the summer lunch program. The federal reimbursement is a little bit higher than what the actual cost of those meals are. So we usually gain just a little bit in the summer. Last year, we started the year with 13,000 in that fund, and most of that was due to summer reimbursement, so.
Say that we've always made,
Yeah, we've always been able to, we're
been
not supposed to
in
make
the black
money,
on it, so.
but we kind of get back in the black a little bit with that.
This food service, is this just food costs, or is this taking out account?
Food and labor and equipment repairs. There aren't any, we don't charge utilities or any of those costs, insurance or anything.
haven't we had a few more breakdowns there in the kitchen this year than?
We've had some equipment breakdowns and repairs, yeah.
We're looking at a new freezer.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume that's included in that, or not, the expense coming out.
But the
Any
repairs
maintenance
have
we've done
to-
on that in the
yeah.
past, yeah.
Right.
Which I think we've done quite a bit of maintenance on that in the last year or two.
But does the maintenance come out of the food service, or does that come out of does that come out of repairs and
The
maintenance?
repairs and maintenance come out of the food service if it's related to that fund, yeah. Unless it gets beyond what they can bear. If we would have to replace the deep freeze, of course, that would come out of capital outlay. But if you come in, if you stop and have lunch with us and you see the offerings that we're required to make, the fruit, the vegetables, the size of the portions, the whole wheat items, it's very expensive.
Yeah, the mandates the state
The
has given
mandates
us is,
just to fulfill is very expensive.
it's just changed. It's, you gotta provide healthier meals, which is better for the kids. I mean, it's a good thing, but typically,
still hungry.
Yeah.
People are still hungry afterwards though.
you know,
Any other questions or concerns on any of the financials?
Well, I noticed we paid, for mileage for forensics. Was there not a car available?
Not that day.
Not
I had
that
to
day.
take a car, I'm on there too, I had to take a car to a meeting in Wichita because there was no car available. We transport so many kids in the morning to Salina.
Yeah, in fact,
Sometimes
and it's
it's
gone
not
up.
take.
We've gained kids that we've just had to transport. And even I've had to take my vehicle 3 different times in the last 2 months. And
My next question was the driver's ed textbooks. I know they haven't been replaced in forever, but is there not an app for an iPad or,
For those books, no.
no, we have to get the text?
The textbooks that we've used in the past, we used from Abilene. And the ones we had were 20-some years old.
Yeah, I knew they were old, but I didn't know.
And one of the things that Deanne and I are finding, we did a lot of research in concurrent classes, the electronic textbook is really not much cheaper than the actual textbook, which is kind of surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
I think you can find discounts on some of the electronic books, but at least for the Cloud County classes.
We're not having a whole lot of luck with that, so.
How does that relate to updates each year for book changes and things like that that you wouldn't get with a textbook?
Yeah, that might be why they're.
And that could be because you get the updated edition each time one would come out. Or if we purchase when we purchase the books for the concurrent classes, the college guarantees that we will be able to use those textbooks 3 years. They will not make a change once we purchase the book for 3 years in that class.
Yeah. The other thing I guess that comes into mind on that is, what we heard tonight is, I'm assuming the driving age kids are probably similar to Cameron and Ashley, that they probably are more engaged by doing it on an iPad than they would be with a textbook. I don't know, that's something we probably are gonna learn in the future, once that age group has the technology, but. And the other thing I thought was really interesting, and we've heard that before, is the fact that when they all have iPads in the application, and one has a struggle, not everybody slows down like you would if everybody's in the book at the same point. Everybody moves forward and then you branch out like a tree, I guess, to all those different topics and questions, and I would think it would be the same in driving as anything else, you know?
And to be honest, I never really entered my mind to use iPad for driver's ed. I don't know why. Just never really didn't enter my mind. Something we can look at.
I can only imagine there's probably apps out there for it.
Oh,
There's apps
sure.
for everything. Something to think about.
What all is this?
Mr. Boulder have to explain, but I know that we're
Ballot
contracting
services and
for
sales.
No.
lawn service.
yeah, I guess I need to.
Yeah, I told them.
John tried to get a bid from Total Turf, didn't get much of a bid. Stout out of Abilene came over, looked at our grounds. We asked about trying to get, I don't know if you noticed, but over the last few years, we've gotten quite a few more weeds.
Pretty shabby.
And just taking care of the grounds. It's difficult for Bill to by the time he gets that mower around, it's time to go back and start over.
And that's without any weed eating or
Right.
manicure.
Exactly. And so, I know that, I think Stout had done it at some point prior to several years ago.
Well, they had done some herbicides and fertilizing on the
Okay.
football field.
All right. Anyway, we got a bid. We looked at the numbers comparing to overtime that we were paying our staff and the
The need for a new mower.
Mower,
need for new
equipment.
mower equipment, what they could do in terms of fertilizing and keeping everything mowed and weed eating and edging and all that stuff. They were pretty comparable compared to what we're paying in overtime to try and so if we want to get our lawns kind of de-weeded and looking good again, I think we need to stick a little more money and let some professionals do it.
I know that
Appreciate it.
Saturday I noticed Saturday when I came up Saturday morning, immediately that the front side looked sharp.
Yeah.
I think they must have done it.
They were just there.
They were there on
Thursday.
They
Thursday.
needed, the sidewalks are all trimmed neat, I
Yeah.
mean, if you look at it, it really looks
Yeah.
good.
And that's, you know, we're able, they do Abilene School District too, and we're able to give them dates and say, this is what we've got coming up, can you schedule it to mow at this time, so you're not mowing when our event's going on, number one, and number two, to try to have it look good, so that when we do have events, and so they're pretty flexible in working with us on those things.
Is that a set amount of times mowing?
Yeah, basically, it's, they've taken the bid and we're drawing it out over 12 months. So,
They do the courthouse for us too, and we looked at the same thing years ago, and we needed a mower, and by the time you talk to staff and the time and the benefits you're paying
10
people.
grand for more or more?
Yeah.
Try 15.
15,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was considerably cheaper, because you're only doing it certain months of the year, but like here, I can only imagine by the time Bill got most of it done, it's time to start at the other end. And one side or the other is always gonna look shaggy, and these guys come in with 2 or 3 of those big mowers and a crew of people weed eating.
done in
Yeah,
3
they fly
hours,
around.
2-3 hours, and, yeah.
That would be great, because it was starting to look shabby.
Uh-huh.
Pine weed run up the fences and.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move forward if there's none. Do I hear a motion to approve the bills and financials?
I'll make the motion to approve the bills and financials.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Todd and seconded by Denise to approve the bills and financials. No other discussion, all in favor, raise your left hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item number B, consider iPad initiative.
I'm gonna have Scott come in and help, but we've got some quotes here. Start with the iPads. We had some iPad Airs for staff that we'd kind of included in this at one time. And I think we just kind of made the decision that the staff has some iPads right now, and to just bump them up to a little bit nicer iPad. Right now, I think we'd like them to use kind of what the kids are using, and rather than trying to change out iPads, just keep them with what they've got. It'll cut some costs down a little bit, and allow us to do some other things with that money. And then there's some other things that kind of went along with that, things technology-wise that we need to update. No, so we have to settle on all of this tonight, but I would like to get the iPad minis and the cases, and at least kind of talk about some other things that we're gonna need to support, and also the desktop computers that we need to replace, or excuse me, in the computer lab, not computer lab, for business. We've got some other areas that we have a lot of the XPs, and we could, in order to equip another lab, we could be getting 60, but I think we're trying to do 40. I think that will cover what we need with the business computer lab, getting some of these replaced in here and the other library, and then in our title room. And then also in Mr. Perez's room with some of the virtual stuff. So that's kind of where we're at with those.
I'm gonna run through what all the stuff for
Okay.
us for us.
I'll-
I know
I'll
I
let-
personally
I'll let,
would like to know where we're at.
yeah, I'll
It's a
let
lot of
Scott
money.
kinda go through some of that.
I think the minis are pretty self-explanatory. We did 110 iPad minis. That will cover us a little bit over our enrollment for the high school, give us some extras, if we do get kids mid-year. The cases, kind of give you an example.
Does that include right now we've got 3/6 and then, because we're in the middle school,
Yes.
they do have them?
Well, basically what we do.
Sixth grade.
That's what I thought, and then the
Yeah.
sophomores, right?
Yes, we have 150 iPad 2s roughly right now. The enrollment second through 8th grade is about 149. So not figuring in second grade, I mean, that gives us a little bit of room, 3rd through 8th, having those iPad 2s there. Then equipping the high school with the iPad minis. We had talked, I think, kindergarten, 1st and 2nd, having anywhere, I think, between 4 and 6 iPads per classroom. In that ballpark.
Where's that, I'm sorry?
K1 and 2.
Yes.
But with the 110, that would give us enough that everybody 3 through 12 has.
Yeah, 3 through 12, 1-to-1.
How many
I-
students total? 335 or something?
Yeah, and that's district-wide, so you take out K1 and 2 out of there.
Mhm.
Okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, that'll get us pretty close. I mean, as enrollment comes around, obviously.
And the mini's the little black one.
Yeah, minis will be about this size, but I just kind of wanted to explain, the cases run about $29 a piece. The cases we bought this year were $17. The new cases, obviously, for the high school, since they are going off campus, I wanted something a little more robust. They come with a screen protector on them. They're dust-proof, water-resistant, shock-resistant, vibration resistant. So just something on, I guess, if you're investing in the iPads, kind of protect that investment. I mean, overall, they're, case is a case, kind of, but just a little more protection. And for $10 more a case, I thought that was a pretty good deal from where we were. Nothing's wrong with the cases we have now. We'll still continue to utilize them for middle school. I'm not sure if they'll be take-home next year or not. But obviously, it's something we can address, but these cases will work great for here in the building.
Okay.
Past that, the Casper JAMP is mobile device management. Part of that is also the Casper focused, so I guess kind of to tie into what Mrs. Robinson was talking about earlier. They can't be everywhere in the classroom. If you do have that, one child you want to keep on task, you can use the software to lock those iPads in a certain direction, either as a single student or as a class, and continue that direction. Casper also allows for mobile device as far as pushing out apps. So as we get apps and you distribute them to the kids, it can just be done wirelessly. Right now we're using Meraki to do that. It's a free MDM. It works some of the times. It's free, so I mean, you kind of get what you pay for. It's not reliable 100% of the time. But the big thing with the Casper was the Casper focus, and giving the teachers that ability to lock them in, I think, and see what the kids are doing. And just they get to using them. Maybe that's not something they'll use as much down the road, but
When you, maybe the only one here, but explain what you mean by locking them in. I mean, is that bringing everybody's screen up the same? Is that
Yep.
locking what they're on, so if they're on something wrong,
Yep.
they can't go off of it, or?
Say you want them, that pic collage, say that's your lesson plan for that hour, you can say whole class pic collage. They
And
can't
that's
do
all they
anything
can
else
say?
with them. They can't back out. if you want to lock them into Safari for web browsing, you can lock them into a particular site. So if you lock them into our web page and they try to go to Google, it won't let them.
Okay. Thank you.
That's probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like I said, I don't think you'll need that for every student, but it does give the teacher an extra tool. I think, so.
Is that enough, is that enough
That,
users for everybody, the whole?
actually, that cost, the 3,700 might come down. That's licensing for 375 devices.
Okay. That was just my
Yeah,
concern,
I
is
aired
that
on-
cover everybody, so
yeah.
we don't have to buy any more later, so.
I erred on the high side to
Okay.
include staff and everybody.
But the advertisement will have another 50 or so here before long, so. I'm thinking optimistic.
Heck, yeah.
Well, that's
Think
the thing is,
Yeah,
if we do, if we would increase enrollment, obviously, we're probably gonna have to purchase some more iPads. I mean, we're kinda going off of what we're projecting for enrollment
Sure.
right now. If we get some more, then, you know, iPads, we can order and have them here pretty quick.
Yeah.
So,
Within a week or two, so.
Be a tough road
less than
ahead.
that.
Yeah.
so,
Okay.
I'm hoping July 30th, 31st will give us a good idea of where we're at, and then we still have till August 14th, so we could, we have about 2 weeks in there if we need to get some right away, we could.
How long does it take rollout per device?
Apple has released a new deployment program. Once it's set up, honestly, we order them, they're enrolled before they even get to the school. I don't have to take them out of the box. I give the whole box to the student, and the student does the enrollment and the initial setup of the device. I went to my tech cadre 2 months ago at Smoky Hill. Apple came in, did a demo, and he deployed a brand new iPad in, I don't know, 2 minutes.
So
And that,
there's no bottleneck or anything, we can just pass them out, not take them out of the box, they can charge them, turn them on, and take care of it then, is that the way I'm understanding it? Okay.
And, you know, this first year, ideally, that's how I would like it to work, but, you know, being the first time into that program, you know, we might have some hiccups, but the nice thing about it, if the kid gets antsy and tries to wipe the device, it automatically re-enrolls. They can never, I mean, it's permanently attached to the school, so.
Are we planning on, you know, well before the school starts, maybe a month before, at least getting a test group in to run through them to make sure we can kind of try to work out some of the bugs on that, or do we have any plans like that, or?
No, I mean, if they're ordered, you know, here in the next few weeks, we should have them in place by mid to late June, so I mean, we'd have that beginning part of July to,
I think that's a good idea, though, to
maybe
get a
get.
group of,
Try to minimize, you know,
We
game
have summer
day
school kids here. 'cause
issues.
they do their
If we
test
get them
group.
by June 27th,
Yeah.
we'll have so much for the kids.
Well, we were just told it only takes a week or two, so I don't see why we couldn't.
I'm sure they'd like a break.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we can look into. Like I said, Apple makes it look easy. Smoky Hill, he's played with it a little bit, and I know Concordia, I think their tech director has messed around with it a little bit. So I mean, there's people in the area. I'm not sure if Abilene has started using it yet or not, or haven't talked to him really about it, but.
what issues do you foresee, or if any, that we may have as far as infrastructure handling all this? Is there any issues we have there? Can the current infrastructure we have handle the pipeline we currently have? And what bottlenecks do we currently have in our system that we need to kind of clear out before we start moving forward?
Internal network, I feel pretty confident in. Our core network in the server room runs just over 3 terabytes a second through it, so I mean, it moves. Our pipeline coming in for internet is 25 megs.
Right.
And, there, we might have to look at upping it, but it's just one of those things that there's no definitive, if you have 100 iPads, you should have an internet connection this big. Because it really varies in what they use it for. So,
Right.
part of that, what we can do to help manage that is a newer firewall. Also, the next one on the list, that Mac Mini server. What that would do is that's gonna sit at the head of the network, and that will cache updates. So you won't have 300 iPads trying to download the newest and greatest iOS. Once the first person downloads it, anybody from there on after just downloads it from the office here. They're not going out to Apple, so that does minimize our bandwidth usage.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what that means. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I hope I'm.
Yeah,
It saves it so they all don't have to go to the internet to get it, they just,
Okay.
It brings it all into there, so we're not
Basically,
jumping
it
out. and
moves
having
it from Apple server to our server.
Okay, okay, okay.
So,
and then just
Gotcha.
hands it out to everybody that needs it instead of having Apple.
Okay.
download it.
because you get, 300 devices trying to update, that could cripple our bandwidth pretty quick. Whereas, like I said, internal network, we move almost 3 terabytes.
Okay.
So. The Casper does have a yearly support on it. They do completely waive, let's see, I had it here. Casper does waive the $40 per device. It's a 100% discount for education. So all we end up paying is the yearly support, which is $8 per device. And then we pay a one-time price of $750, so,
It's pretty reasonable.
yeah. And that gets us that service. The Mac Mini server, I ran through that. It's not a requirement. It will just avoid a lot of headaches and hassles when it comes to bandwidth. So, and for $1,100, I think that's to get a full Apple server in here, it's a pretty good price, I thought.
What's the max it can handle?
Uh,
I mean, is there a, I guess, can it effectively handle 200, 300, or is it capped at, 200 or?
Talking with the Apple rep, he didn't really tell me one way or another. I know it's spec'd out, it's an i7 processor.
Okay.
It's got 2 terabytes of space in it and 8 gigs of RAM, so I mean, it's a pretty good server. And all it's going to do is handle Casper and handle caching. It's not going to do anything else.
Okay, fair enough.
The mini
Um,
server?
Yeah.
What do a lot of other districts going with that, I assume, then?
I talked with Jerry Butler, he does a lot with Macs. He just they're at the inception of the iPad in the school as far as Kansas goes. And I asked him this afternoon, how many other schools are going with it. And he named off the top of his head, about 6 or 7 schools that have it. He listed a few more that are bigger Apple districts that have the bigger servers. They don't necessarily have the Mac Mini, but he said of those schools that have put them in, it's been a headache saving for them, I guess.
Okay.
Great.
The desktops, Mr. Fulker kind of went over that. We bumped that number by 10 up to 40. That's going to cover 20 new machines for the business lab over here. It's going to put about 5 or so down in Mr. Perez's room for the Ingenuity program. The idea is, for the most time, the kids will be using the iPad, but there are certain parts of the Ingenuity program that they need a full desktop for. We've got 7 computers in the title lab in the elementary school. And then we've got various ones, like these workstations here, the checkout machines here in the library. But, we came pretty close to covering 40.
What do they use these workstations for?
These workstations, if the lab's full, like a class has it reserved, kids can come in here and type a paper. They use it for lookup for Alexandria. That's more in here. The elementary side, I think, is just basically a book lookup station. She said she'd like at least 1 machine there. But outside of that, I just see kids using these basically to write papers when the lab's full or to browse the internet if need be. Obviously, with the iPads next year, I'm thinking we could cut this down. We don't necessarily need 4
That was
here.
my
No,
question,
yeah,
and then if
no,
you
we're
have-
not gonna need 4 there. I was only thinking about 2.
Will they not be able to do the book lookup on their iPads?
I'm not sure how Alexandria, I mean, I guess they could go online, but I don't know as far as.
What's Alexandria?
Our,
It's the management system for the library.
But I don't know as far as Alexandria if they have anything that ties into the iPad. I mean, that's something we can look at. Ideally, I'm thinking probably 1 per library would.
Just strictly look up books and do the research and know where to go that way.
Or if they need to sit down and print a paper. That's, honestly, I think with the iPad, it's gonna phase out the use of these. So I don't see the need to replace 4 stations. Right now, we've got 1 computer powering 4 monitors.
Okay.
The BCS upgrade, we talked about that last month. That will be updating the controller for our, can't think of the heating and cooling system, building controls. That'll be moving it off of a Windows XP machine and moving it onto one of the servers in the office. But $6,200, that's for a full day's labor. They don't think they'll need that, but they went ahead and priced a full day just in case. A lot of it was updated last January, so they're thinking maybe a couple hours to get in and out.
So why didn't we do that all when they were here?
I called and left a message with BCS. I haven't heard back from them as to why.
Yeah, because it seems pretty costly that it wasn't all just done at once. We knew Windows 7 or Windows XP was being phased out. I don't know why we didn't just do everything at once, or.
I mean, that was over a year ago. I mean, I think at that time, I really didn't even give it a second thought that was a Windows XP machine and what we needed to do. I think we were more concerned about getting it back up and going at the time because it was January.
Gotcha.
But, why the option wasn't put out there, at least, I'm not sure. I left a message for him, like I said, never heard back.
Okay.
What's the downside of the Windows XP machines if we didn't replace them? What could happen? They still function, right?
They still function. The only thing would be Microsoft no longer releases security patches for them. So any big vulnerability like the Internet Explorer one that came out here this last week or so, Microsoft actually did go back and patch XP just because of how big it was, but any security exploit that comes out from this point forward, Microsoft doesn't feel the need to release a patch, then it becomes a vulnerable operating system. At that point, you could take it off the network, but the problem is our entire building control system is through the network, so we can't very well take it off. So, you just kind of have that risk hanging out there.
Right.
What are the chances that it would be exploited? Probably slim to none, but.
I was thinking more about the other 40 machines than the BCS upgrade, but
Yeah. Oh, as far as, like the labs and.
yeah, how old are those machines?
Didn't we just purchase?
A lab last summer.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
lab, yeah.
And-
That lab's updated.
Okay.
So-
But as far
So
as.
what's the other lab we're talking about? besides
No,
the
we're not
business
doing
one?
another lab. We gotta get the business. We've gotta have some computers for the virtual program that Mr. Perez will
Mhm.
be looking over. We need
Do
a
we need
couple
7
in-
in the title lab? I don't know
Yeah.
how often that's.
Yeah, in fact, I think we actually need them more. I'm
Okay.
looking at more like 8 to 10.
Maybe
Which I'd really like to have, but, and so we're getting really close.
They will even use them,
Huh?
even with their iPads?
In there, yeah, because of the new Lexia core reading program, and see, not all of our elementary will have the iPads. So,
Right, K through 2.
yeah, K through 2 won't, so when they go to MTSS, they've gotta have that, and we're just gonna have that Lexia Core reading program. Well, if we can, I know that we'll have it in that center, and I think we're gonna try and get it on the iPads as well, so that you don't have to just use it in MTSS, but with K2, that'll be pretty important that they have it there.
Scott, do you think we need 20? I don't think we need 20 in the business lab.
I mean, we've got 19 in there right now. I don't know what our enrollment is looking
I
like
think
for
we
the
need
next year.
about 11 or 12.
Okay.
Where are you gonna do your key plate?
In there.
I mean, if it's you got more than that, then, you know.
I mean, that lab over there, we purchased those machines refurbished, I want to say, 2 or 3 years ago. I think it's getting close to 3.
Getting close to 3, I'm thinking, yeah.
And I mean, they were refurbished, I mean, they're a couple years old coming into that, so they're pretty close to 5 years old.
But we've got
Um,
teachers on it.
We're not replacing the elementary lab, those machines were bought refurbished in 2009,
Teachers are using them.
so.
Do teachers get to use the laptops and the iPads?
As of right.
Yeah, their laptop is what they're using mainly on their desk.
So why are we buying them? Why would we supply them two things? Why does a teacher need a laptop and an iPad?
I think it's,
I don't think they're gonna do everything, I mean, as far as I mean, ideally, you'd like to get them to the point where they're gonna do most of their document creation, stuff like that on the iPad, but, I mean, I'm not to have anything against an older generation, but there's some, I just don't see a lot of them,
There's a place for both.
yeah,
Yeah.
fully
I
adopted.
mean, I've got both for work, and there's no way I could work through the day on my
Well,
tablet, my eyes would be
Your
falling out
iPad
of
runs
my
through
head.
your computer.
I mean,
To get onto the screen.
I even create a lot with the computer, but then I use the tablet to access it. So a lot of my creation comes from the computer. And as far as managing their grade book, I mean, they can hop online or in the Power School app and do that, but I think there's still a
we
place
could,
for the laptop.
we could reduce that number to 35.
I'm just
I mean, I
asking
think we'll
questions
probably
that I don't
cover it.
know the
Yeah,
answers to,
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Well,
And I mean, we just bought laptops or computers a year ago, so
yeah, we just equipped the staff last year with laptops. And they have the
And-
iPads now.
and their
I'm not
computers, we're
looking to
gonna-
replace those.
They're good to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, they had XP on those as well,
Mhm.
right? And so
On the
they,
laptop?
No,
No.
on the desktops.
the
That's why.
desktops that they had prior to.
I mean, we would have been
Because
coming
we
in
phased those out, and
Yes,
replaced them with laptops.
right.
to try to spread this out instead of this year having to replace
Right.
a real large sum. But the way it sits right now, I mean, they have the laptops, they'll have the iPads. We're not looking to update the iPads, so they'll continue with what they have.
we're no longer buying any of the Airs, right?
Right.
We're buying all minis.
Mhm. I think, kind of as we move forward, that might be something that we look at in the future, but until we see significant, I guess, changes in the iPad, I don't know as though that we need to have that
Well, this
much.
40 or 35 or whatever, that will have replaced all the PCs
Yeah,
in the
that, I
district.
mean, that's
and got them all
covering
upgraded.
the lab and all the various odds and
Well,
ends.
and we're not replacing all of them. I think that's what we're trying
Right,
to
because they're
not
all
do.
up to speed, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
We're not
right.
gonna have another 30 or 40 next year that need to be upgraded because their XP's
Correct.
phased out of the roof.
Like I said,
Correct.
we're taking the elementary lab out of the mix, that's not getting replaced.
And they're gonna come over and use,
We'll just
Yeah,
turn this into a district lab.
right,
District lab.
that's gonna be twofold instead of just high school.
Because with the iPads, there might not be as big a demand on the lab.
Yeah,
There
it
still
should be.
There'll still be a place for it, but
Yeah, typing papers, that K2
Keyboard.
group, K2 group maybe we get
For
on.
$405 a piece, that's pretty inexpensive. Is there any software that everything, software and everything on those machines?
Yeah, well, I
Or does it
mean,
all come off the server?
as far as like Office and things like that, we're under a group license each year, based off of our full-time employment, or full-time employment. No, it actually goes off of our
Employment.
full-time faculty, which I think was 42 this last year. And so we only paid for 42 licenses in Office, and we get to put that on everything through the district.
I see.
So
That's pretty cheap.
that's one of their
The
OBS
office alone
licenses.
was more than the cost of that PC.
And the computers, I've made sure the set we bought last year, and these as well, they're loaded with Windows 8 and downgraded to Windows 7. So we've got the license to move them up to Windows 8. But just from a simplicity standpoint, I'm gonna keep them at 7. But, I mean, to avoid having to pay for 8 down the line, we've got that ability to upgrade.
Okay.
So, the second sheet is, I split the firewalls off into its own sheet. We got two options. The iPrism firewall, that's one I had been looking at. I called and talked to Lowe and IT out of Hutch. They set me up with a demo for the Barracuda. That was another one I'd heard about. There are some schools down towards Wichita area that use the Barracuda appliances. The only person that uses the iPrism firewall near us is Hope White City. He's used it for the better part of 10 years, loves it, never had a problem. The other schools I've talked to about the Barracuda, no issues. They think it's well worth the money. The Barracuda is a web filter and a firewall, two separate appliances that would completely replace the Sonic wall that's in the office right now. iPrism, we'd still have to partner with the Sonic wall. On top of the iPrism, you'd be looking at about $600-700 a year to keep the Sonic wall. And if it makes any sense, these are both Barracudas. One's a 3-year total,
Right.
one's 5-year total. Just to kind of give you.
So do we get, Scott, do we have to get both of these? The 21,800?
No,
It's a choice.
it's a choice.
One or the other.
I mean, it's.
Either
one of these
iPrism or
three?
Barracuda.
Yeah.
And I asked Scott to get some information on Lightspeed, but wasn't as successful today getting that information.
Lightspeed hasn't called back. That's what a lot of our area schools use. But with Lightspeed, it's like iPrism, you still have to partner with the firewall.
So iPrism is 4 years at $21,000, right?
Mhm.
And then this whole Barracuda, is all this stuff wrapped up there for 12, for
Yeah,
3?
12 for 3 years,
Well, plus you're still dealing with Sonic, well, how much is that?
about $700 a year.
So that's on top of the
22.
21.8.
That's on top of 21.8.
So
Yeah,
with
it's
Barracuda,
already-
do you still have to deal with Sonic Wall?
No.
No, that completely takes Sonic wall out of the picture.
And is Barracuda the one that you're recommending?
That's what I'm leaning towards. After doing the web demos on both of them, I honestly can't tell you the difference between the two. Both of them facilitate every need that we have or are looking for. The big one that I was going into next year looking at was web proxy. So that when the iPads leave campus, they go home, hook into their home Wi-Fi, wherever it is, they're still filtered as if they were sitting here at the school. Right now, we can't do that with Sonic
And
Wall.
that's, Barracuda does that?
Barracuda does that, iPrism does that.
Scott, with Barracuda, can we,
Kind of no-brainer, man.
for our
Yeah.
teachers,
Jeez.
5 years anyway.
can they have different,
Yes.
they can get on certain sites that kids can't?
Yep, we'll be able to segregate staff and students. We can even segregate down to if you've got a student in ISS
Circle the numbers.
and you want them just
I'd
to go
still
to
like
3
see
websites.
Lightspeed,
Okay.
because I know that's what Inman uses, I just kinda like to see it. But at the same time, well, we have 2 weeks left on Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic Wall's up here in 2 weeks as far as our We've been renewing it year to year for a couple of years now.
So we really need to make the decision, but I'd still like to see something on Lightspeed. I'd just like to, I'd like to know what the cost is. And like I said, knowing that Inman uses that Lightspeed and they're pleased with it, and obviously they're having success. I'd just like to know.
So the worst thing I've heard about Lightspeed is the support in our area, because it goes through Next Tech, but support from the company itself is great. And that's the worst that people have to tell me about it.
So you're asking us to make a decision, but yet we're.
Well, I definitely want to make a decision on this. And then, I'd really kind of, I'd really like to see if Scott can get us something on Lightspeed, maybe send it to you in the next couple of days and make a decision.
But we don't know what the cost is on it or anything like
Yeah,
that.
I'd kind of like to know.
Is the capability on it pretty similar to Barracuda, or do you know?
I'm gonna guess probably in the ballpark. I haven't been able to do a web demo or anything on it, so.
But you said Lightspeed would require Sonic Wall too?
Yeah. We'd have to keep Sonic Wall in place. Basically, we'd be taking content filtering away from Sonic Wall and giving it to the Lightspeed system. And, I mean, that's my only gripe with Sonic Wall right now is content filtering. Because I mean, Mr. Doom and Mr. Boulder know it's a headache from week to week, you know. What did it block while I was gone last night? Because it updates every night at midnight, so. It's a
So
fun.
this Barracuda will give you a little more control.
Yeah, it's a lot more granular, the reporting, even down to blocked web pages. Staff can override a blocked web page and give it access to the students. I mean, they're not coming
With
to me to
Sonic Wall?
unblock.
No, with Barracuda.
With
or
Barracuda they can?
Yeah.
Barracuda, they
It's on Sonic Wall, right?
But Sonic Wall right now, you know, they have to give me a web address. I have to figure out, is it being blocked by?
So it's gonna free up a little more of your time to go with Barracuda.
Yeah. Well, at this point, anything's better than Sonic Wall as far as content filtering.
I was just saying, we've dealt with Sonic Wall for years at the county, and it's a pain at best. I hate to say that on video, but we have to contract people to come in and do the programming. So, I don't know if you've experienced
Looks
that.
like Lightspeed, you can get a 15-day free trial on.
Well, and it depends. I talked with our CDW rep, and they've got so many solutions. Lightspeed Rocket, I think, is what we would need. Like I said, I can try to get a demo set up for it this week.
So with Lightspeed, it would require Sonic Wall or some other kind of
Firewall.
firewall.
And,
Do you know
I
what?
mean, if we went with Lightspeed, I would not be opposed to keeping Sonic Wall. It does great for everything but content filtering. It's security. has never been
Lightspeed
an issue.
does.
Huh?
You said Lightspeed.
Sonic
Sonic Wall.
Does.
Sonic Wall is an all-in-one
It's another
appliance.
device to fail.
It's security, it's
That's
great, but it's
another thing.
content
That's what I
filtering.
know.
Oh, but you're saying, so Lightspeed's content filtering would
Yeah.
do the job that we needed to do?
Basically, content filtering's a headache, we turn that over to Lightspeed.
Are there any other schools that use Barracuda?
A few down by Wichita, I can't
That
remember off
use
the top of my
it.
head. I called and talked to a few of the tech directors down there. And they were pleased with their investment in it. So, that's probably a lot of information to digest.
Well, I guess my feeling is you're asking us, or not really asking us, but we're trying to discuss a topic that's well above our head. I mean, we have to rely on your expertise, what you guys ask for.
Like I
To
said,
me, Sonic Wall's another device that's in the mix, that if we can get one device out, that's one place for less for failure if something goes wrong.
and,
We
I
don't
mean,
have brownouts or power issues or anything here, so we don't have to worry about that, right?
well, with the Barracuda, I mean, the nice thing about that would be putting everything under one company. So the reporting would all intermingle.
When there's a problem, that company can't
Oh,
say
they-
it's a Sonic Wall, you need to go to them, and Sonic Wall says you need to go to Lightspeed or Barracuda.
And the other thing with Barracuda, it was another option that was given to me. Talking with Mr. Boulder, it's not something I field that we need to pursue right now, but they have a message archiving system. So when we do give out email addresses to students, it would log every email and allow you to go back and look at them, but I don't think we're in a place to need that right now. But if down the road we decide to add that, that would also be an appliance that would roll right into what we already had, so.
That's above my head too.
Well,
Well,
financially, the bottom, the 5-year one makes more sense to me, but I don't know.
So you want us to make a decision on the first sheet?
Yeah, definitely, and then, if, if you wanna go with Barracuda without, looking at Lightspeed, or if Scott can get me something, I could send it out to you, and then, I don't know, make a
Well,
decision.
we know we've got to do something. I would
We-
suggest that you guys check
Yeah.
with Kevin Case, or whoever,
Yeah,
maybe he'll have some insight on what's better or worse, and
okay.
and decide what's the
I-
best.
And here's the other option, I guess. We could talk to Abilene, could run over and just see theirs. I mean, obviously that doesn't help too much
What do
with
they use
pricing.
at Lightspeed?
They use Lightspeed.
I mean, but could run over there and at least see it in person, see what it does, and then hopefully try to get a price on things. But that might.
My feeling is if
that
it's
might
within the
speed things.
ballpark of what you're talking on the 5 years with Barracuda, and you guys think that's a better option, go with it. I mean, we don't have,
Yeah,
I mean,
Right.
if you email us and we all get confused and Justin's the
Yeah.
only one knows what they're talking about, you're liable to get 6 different responses, and then we're nowhere, so we know we gotta have it, right?
So I guess could we basically say, set that 5-year, the 15,994 as a not to exceed amount,
right,
or will be nice to make numbers easy, 16, or
Yeah.
$6 to it.
right.
And they can make their own decision on what's more applicable for our,
And that will let that be your decision on whatever you
That's fine.
get with Scott and
what we definitely expect is that it'll work and it'll be ready to go by the school year.
add in the $6.
Yeah, that's my main concern, is that we have everything up and running by the time school hits. Every single classroom ready to go.
Are we needing to address any issues with battery backups in part of all this, or
Can I give them an update there?
are we gonna run that as a maintenance item? Have we changed our procedures? Do we have any sort of way to test batteries, so on and so forth?
Honestly, it does its own test each week. I check them, try to once a week, at least look down, make sure the charge lights are up,
What type of test does it do? Does it actually do a load test,
Yeah,
or
it
is it?
switches over to batteries.
Okay.
And honestly, I was sitting there, it was last Monday, and that thing started chiming. I couldn't figure out what was going off. Looked underneath the Eagle's battery backup was sitting on top of ours. And looked underneath there, and battery lights were off, charge lights were down. And so I pulled the battery. We got on the phone with CDW. They had one coming in Wednesday. It shipped out Wednesday, got here today. Unfortunately, had the wrong plug on it, so we got to send it back.
Okay, solder.
Yeah, well, thought about it, but avoid a warranty on it. But, I mean, this is the first time that battery's been replaced in that particular APC. since I've been
How
here.
old is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, it was put in before I started here, and that was 2009, so.
You did not hold a load during that brownout that we had at night, is that what happened? Or-
Battery was still, batteries were shot. I mean, whether they were plugged in,
Oh,
or
okay.
plugged or unplugged, it didn't matter. So when the power browned out, it took the core network down with it. So I came in that night, I had to reprogram all 5 switches, get going for the next morning.
But the batteries were bad, that was the problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only other battery backups we have, we've got a big one on the bottom of the server rack. It lasts, I'm gonna say 6 minutes when the power goes out, which is just hopefully long enough to get things shut down in the right order.
Do we need to look at increasing our capacity in any sorts? Because, I mean, I'm not sure what redundancy we need in there. And then also, I mean, average battery, you're looking 3 to 5 years, best case scenario.
Yeah,
So,
we just got to where we automatically replace ours at 3 years. It's cheaper than the alternative,
Well, yeah,
And I
absolutely.
don't know what, generator or whatever it be, if that would be cheaper in the long run, or?
Let's
maintenance on it, I
let's
don't
just
know.
date them and plan on replacing them every 3 years.
So, I can
That would
start.
be a very good start, I mean, anyway.
Because I know right now we don't have battery backup on our elementary end. It was hardest for the phone system. And the middle school has battery backup, the after-school building does not, so only parts of our network are on battery backup. But we can definitely try and get prices together about what it would be to.
I mean, I'm just asking if that's something you think we need to start looking at, if we need to start looking at making sure we have the capacity to handle certain things, or
Honestly, my,
itemizing, prioritizing on what's top to bottom, you know, because some things, if they go down, oh well, you know, it's just a hard restart.
if the ends of the network go down, I'm not too concerned. It's keeping this core and the
Right.
servers up and running.
Scott, if the
Would've been
power
missed.
goes out and it switches to battery backup, does it automatically start a shutdown process? Or is it supposed to, so that it's safely shut down before the batteries expire, or?
It's supposed to, right now, our domain controllers start to shut down, but our older servers don't have that ability. So when the power goes out, they just drop. Not the greatest thing, but they come back each time when the power comes back on, they all fire back up. There's only one server that I have to shut back down and bring up another way. It's not too big of a, as long as the batteries, I mean, those cover those short outages, and that's,
Would it be worth reaching out to Eagle, since we kind of have a partnership with them on managing some of their fiber connections, and see if they'd be willing to share the cost of a backup generator? Wouldn't take a very big one just to run the,
Until you start looking at the cost of bringing the switching and everything else in, because we'd have to have it so it makes sure it isolates itself from the rest of the network. Yeah, I'm
all
talking
the
network,
circuits are right there.
infrastructure.
All the circuits are right there in his server room. The mains come in right there. I mean, I don't,
I mean, it might be something to talk to Eagle about. Right now, they're on their own battery backup in there. They ran off ours for the first 3 or 4 months, but they're on their own now. I found out when I unplugged it the other day and set an alarm off in his.
I'll do that about every other day, and they'll get tired of it, and they'll say,
There
hey,
you go. Yeah, there you go.
we need a backup generator, I shouldn't say that.
I have to back up a minute on this Casper. Is it
Yep.
just to manage the use of their cell phones? Is that what that's for?
Yeah,
That's for the iPads?
yeah,
Okay.
That's
It's
for
the
every
managed
wireless
apps.
device, basically, right?
we can't do much with cell phones.
I was
Oh,
wondering
you
why that
said
would
mobile.
impact our, I was reading the mobile device. Okay, I'm with you. That's the one where you can have the teachers.
Yeah, the Casper Focus.
Okay.
So we're looking at 61,749. My next question would be, which I'm sure is in the minds of everybody else here, how are we gonna pay for that?
Year end balances.
Okay. We got enough to pay for it here in? She's rolling her eyes, so. Maybe we do or we don't, I guess. You confident we do?
I think between year-end balances and we still have some middle school money that we can draw down. We've got about $22,000 there. So I think we can handle it.
Okay.
Deficit of railroad, how's that gonna get brought back up?
Well, from summer stuff,
Okay.
number one. We do have some still coming in that will offset that.
What was the question?
Oh, just the.
We can offset the food
Oh,
deficit right now.
we have a $22,000 transfer from general fund that we'll make. And then we've got a couple of payments that we haven't gotten from the state on free lunch. So we'll
So we're
have
not really that far.
So
Positive.
as much as it
No,
never looks
no.
bad, but we're not in that bad a shape right now.
Right,
Right.
Okay.
right,
Right.
yeah.
You just panic and then we pull.
Well,
No, this is more serious than it's been in the past.
Right, because we're always in the black in the
Right.
past, yeah.
And it's not because of collections with our families, because they do an excellent job. We have a high rate of collection in this
Is it
district.
because we've got a lot more free and reduced and
It's
just,
because the cost of running the program is
It's
significantly
just going
higher.
up.
Yeah.
Food cost.
I know we've had a lot of maintenance issues up there and that
Yep.
with the cooler and different things, and I'm sure that probably adds up too. Okay, well, back to that number.
Okay.
And my understanding is that's what it's gonna take, and Scott's telling us that we're not gonna have any other hidden expenses coming up next year. That'll get us up to speed for a year or two.
Yeah, and like I said, this actually might come down a little bit with that BCS upgrade. And then the Casper, like I said, I quoted that at 375 devices.
But that's only $8 a device, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean,
I guess it should
if
be
we really
down.
have 350 devices, you know, I just figured better to err on the side of
I'm fine with that.
a little high.
Okay, and we have the money to do it. So I guess we're down to the decision making unless there's any other questions. I think we're kind of committed to it.
Yeah.
We started
We're gonna
the
start
program.
advertising.
And we've seen tonight the byproduct of it, and it's obviously working.
Yeah.
And we're gonna approve up to 16 on this.
Sorry.
We're gonna approve up to 16 on this too,
All
right?
right.
And basically, do you just take the two numbers and together you want to 77
I have a
and
question.
749?
Can we spread, we can spread that 5-year total, and can we spread that out
I
over
mean,
5 years? Or do we have to pay it up front?
That's it.
Not gonna have
It's
some
an
handle
upfront.
to do. but-
Basically,
Well,
they're,
yeah, but I
They're giving
mentioned
you
to Jessica
a
that
5 or
it
10
would be
break
nice to
right now
have,
the time,
instead of
I mean-
this, to
I'm pretty
have it
sure,
all
Okay.
on a tablet and iPad.
guess it's
that we can do
email.
that, so.
Oh, that's $3,800 difference.
yeah, he said just keep in mind the EUs are mandatory.
And are we
Small
looking
price
at,
to
are we
get
looking at
seven.
mini
5
or
years
are
of
we
price
looking at
tag,
big
gives you
ones?
1 year free, so you pay for the 4th year with glass free.
I mean,
I don't know about you, but my eyesight's not any better.
Yeah, I know, that's good.
Hit a class and.
And just wondering how much time it cut back making copies.
The question, Todd brought up, I think a good question while we're talking about this in the purchase, and I don't know what board members to my right feel like, but, you know, we have a lot of paper, we get, I know Jessica made the comment earlier, her notebook gets thick and stuff. While we're doing this, I think the cost would be very minimal, but I would really like to see us get 7 more, and so the stuff that you email us, we got in front of us, we don't have a stack of paper, we can,
Okay.
I think it not only would set a good example, but if we can use them, the kids can use them, and it would certainly,
Well, and
what do you
like I
guys
said, we're gonna need
think?
a little education on it. Sure. Some hand holding, but
Some
Kids
more than
back
others.
in there to teach.
I didn't say did that.
But, I mean, there's I'm sure there's a lot of work goes into D&N and Beth making copies to mail out to us and stuff every month, and that could be sent out by email.
You want the 2 or the mini or the what?
I'm thinking I would need something bigger. In my view.
The 2s, I think, run, I mean, a pack of 10, $279 a piece, so, otherwise they're $299 a piece.
What do you guys think?
Callie, how do you feel about it?
I'm good with it.
I just think it would save a lot. To me, they'd pay for themselves on nothing flat, just in reduced staff time, and the paper and copies, and plus the flexibility to have the stuff in front of us and not,
And that's the size of the red?
Well,
Or
the
is it
iPad
bigger?
2, the screen will be this size, but this red part would be a little wider.
Okay.
But, yeah, screen in the iPad Air, the iPad 2's, the size of the screens are the same.
But I think we better start looking at some software then for paperless board meetings, if that's what you're
There's
talking
an
about.
app, it's called Dropbox.
I think you want something a little more secure than just emailing
Yeah.
stuff out.
Well, we get it
that
emailed anyway.
and the drive,
Your
Google
Google Drive.
Drive, just to put the
Yeah.
stuff in your own Google Drive and have it available when you get signed on. I mean, to me, that'd be a good start.
Mhm.
And I don't know how we might be able to use it. I know Google's releasing the classroom part. I emailed you and Mr.
Yeah,
Dillon.
I emailed you back about that.
Sure,
Yeah.
I can pass that one up.
Will that do basically the same as what our district website will do next year?
Yeah, I mean,
Do we have to pay for Google Classroom?
no, it'll be free. I wouldn't say one will do more than the other, but as far as if we do give email accounts to students, it'll just be a one-stop shop. Here's your files. You could still use the website for them to submit it.
I thought you had to pay for it, so.
Yeah, it'd be free.
Do the ones we're talking about have a flash, or a USB port on them, that you can put in a flash drive or not? Not on those, okay.
I don't know. I've honestly never looked. I don't know if Apple has an adapter for that.
Yeah, I think they do.
They have an adapter,
Yeah,
Kevin
yeah.
showed us it, but
Yeah.
I don't know which one it was on, or if it matters.
I think they got an adapter. I don't know.
I've never,
I'm sure.
honestly, it's never crossed my mind, so I've never looked.
Working on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, you got that total added up, Kristen?
Being fairly generous, the total would be 77,750 would be the not to exceed amount. That's adding about $7, just to make the numbers nice and easy.
And that does not include 7 additional devices, or does?
That does not, no, those would be about an extra $2,000.
Yeah.
So if we were to say 80 grand, not to exceed? 79,750?
Yeah, USB.
That sounds like a lot more, doesn't it, than
It sounds like a lot more than
77,750?
61. So I guess we could
Well,
word
it
it
adds in
differently.
this
Say the 61,700 and
16,000.
then 15,000.
Oh, you're adding in this too.
It's all gonna, it's all the
Okay.
same.
That
Yeah.
15 on, I just took
Okay, we were
the
gonna-
61,749 and add 16,000 to it and then round it up. to
Can we
make
get
it
E-rate money
easy.
on the 15,900? Or we get assistance on that? I don't know, that's even an E-rate thing.
No. I mean,
No.
if you went through the process, firewall can be included in E-rate. We tried it a few years ago, it's priority
It's
2,
low.
and
It didn't make it.
yeah, you would never get funded. I mean, it's,
Scared.
you can try, but
I'm
odds
afraid
are
to ask.
slim.
We're looking at that number, or we're still, because it's growing a little bit. We're still okay?
Yeah, and honestly, we could, on yours, we could do that, July 1 with the next. We could look at that for the following year monies.
Yeah, that's not very far
I
away.
mean,
Yeah.
But it's a new budget.
if it saves any at all, I mean, I don't know if you want to push the 40 desktops back. I mean, to clone them,
Standard for Amazon.
we ordered those in July. I could start running before school started. I don't know if that helps any, but 16,000.
We push them back till the next school year, what you're saying? The next budget?
Does that help at all, or?
Yeah, well, we'll make it work.
We'll make it work.
All right.
I mean,
Cost money to run a school, you know?
And then the only other thing that comes to mind is the firewall. I mean, it expires after we're out for the year, so it's not like we're gonna.
Well, I think they're looking.
It's all
to
included in that,
improve-
yeah.
Yeah,
talking
we're
about
all,
total number
we're
here,
doing
too.
the whole
It
thing.
wraps you right up
yeah,
there.
we're not holding off.
That's
If
what
we're
it
gonna
is.
do it, we might as well.
That's not a bonus for Scott,
bigger
that's
for
16,000, so I know what you were thinking, but,
All eyes on Dean Ann. Like, whoa.
So where are we at, right
Good luck.
at 80?
Is that the magic?
well, we're just under 80, but I think 80 would be
We
a,
can just, that's a
would
good
be
number.
a good number to authorize for the whole thing, that way they can check on their silver light or whatever it's called,
Light speed.
light speed, and determine on their side what's gonna be most applicable. Let them arm wrestle and figure it out or whatever, so.
I think it's a good idea, especially if you said Abilene runs it. Go see pros, cons, and, being such a short distance away, it's definitely worth looking into. I mean,
It'd be the best one, somebody choose it'd be the best,
and they may have a reason why they stuck with it versus why they didn't go another route. I mean, it may be a couple bucks more, but there may be a valid reason for it. I don't know.
the price.
Let's see
I
the
have heard
purchase
it's
of this.
expensive,
not to exceed
where
$80,000.
it falls in with
Yeah,
these
that
other
includes
ones.
the
Yeah.
firewall,
And these are expensive.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
the finished.
So I don't know, that, I mean, it's,
For the remainder of the
if that's the
students in
final
high
option we
school.
have,
I
I
guess
think
it's
we
what,
definitely need to turn that rock over
7
before we. I guess before you guys make that decision, so.
At the quoted prices.
Yeah, and everything on this, I worked this afternoon to get quotes locked in, so,
And you said most of it you kind of shot high.
yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, if you come in under that 80,000, that's,
We're really
We'll
happy.
be
That would
really
phenomenal,
thankful.
yeah.
I'll make the motion to go ahead and purchase the iPads that we need, was it 7th through 12th?
The remaining 7 iPads for grades 7 through 12.
And the items listed for not to exceed $80,000,
Which includes the firewall.
which includes the firewall also.
For 5 years.
Pardon?
For the 5 years.
Yeah, I think we were agreeable to the 5-year deal with Lightspeed.
It doesn't make any sense to,
Yeah, I mean, it's a much better deal.
I don't know if I said that or not, but that is covering the appliance, all updates, and next day replacement.
Which is kind of important. Yeah.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion.
And we don't have that, I'm sorry,
That's all
we
right.
don't have that expense for 5 more years, right?
no,
no, we'll
that's
pay
a
for it all.
one-time expense.
Right.
Right.
Oh, okay.
On the firewall, that's a one-time expense.
One-time expense, right? Okay.
Not an annual expense.
But it covers for 5 years. It's a one-time expense for 5 years.
So that covers our updates for the next 5 years.
And then after the 5 years, then what do they sell you?
Another-
We're not there
Well,
yet.
another $15,000.
Who knows where
I
technology?
mean, you're talking web filter
Yeah,
is,
I don't
So then you drop back to the,
5 years.
to the
is a
web
long
filter
time,
update.
really.
well, yeah.
and
they have
divide that by the 5 years.
A 1
and then it's
year,
a
5
year.
year.
Computer.
Okay.
I mean, but we'd be back in the same bucket we are in now with Sonic Wall. We just renew it year to year, or we could do another 3-year, another 5 year.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to authorize completing the iPad initiative with the remaining iPads, grades 7 through 12, and the additional computer upgrades and items that Scott has quoted, as well as the firewall upgrades to a total of not to exceed $80,000. Is that correct?
Second.
And it's been moved by Todd and seconded by Jessica. And are there any last questions for you before we move forward? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your left hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Move forward. Thank you. Appreciate your indulgence.
Explain photos.
Keep it shorter this time.
And what-
All of it was us.
Okay, moving on the agenda, we have the consideration of raising the breakfast and lunch prices by 10 cents per meal. We discussed that briefly earlier, and the need to do that, I guess, because we're in the red considerably on our, because of the expenses on the food service program, so. I mean, is there any other discussion on that before we take action on it?
Do we need to wait and see where we end up before we do this?
10
or-
cents is all you can do in a year.
And is this for 14, 15, or was that what we're talking
Yes.
about? Is
What did
this-
we raise it last year?
I think it was a dime last year,
I
wasn't
think it was a dime, we've been doing a dime a year, which is kind of, that's about what you can do once you get behind.
it? And with that, what are our prices now?
Yeah, because, that's what I'm
Oh.
I can't
$1.50.
believe that I didn't write those down
I
before I
know.
came.
Um,
I want to say,
Oh, I've got
with
it in the
this
July
one-
minutes, I can look.
That was $1.55.
I know, it's been a while since I came in for lunch, but it was like 3 1/4 or something. Does
Well,
that sound
that's
right?
for your meal is different than the student meal.
Yeah,
If
you pay for an adult meal.
Yeah.
Oh,
The breakfast prices are $1.40 for K-5 and $1.50 for 612. The lunch prices are $2.05 for K-5 and $2.25 for 612. Additional milk is 35 cents and adults are at
Atlanta's
$3.50.
$2.65
I
lunch.
know, that's what I'm saying. We're low.
yeah.
That's an
We
amazing
really
lunch
need
for
to be.
that cost.
I think I'm gonna have for a kid meal.
you don't get it.
I know.
So next try. And they'll tell you about it.
Okay, yeah, those are, I don't see how it'd be difficult to complain about that price, I would think. Consider what they're getting for it.
Just make a motion for that.
Yes, we would.
I'll move that we raise the breakfast and lunch prices by a dime.
Okay, it's been moved by Justin, seconded by Tally to raise the breakfast and lunch prices by 10 cents per meal. All in favor, raise your left hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, I'm just gonna kind of go a little bit out of order. We'll leave the future agenda topics till last.
Okay.
Let's consider the bus a little bit. Let's talk about that.
All right. Here we go. I'm gonna just take one and pass them around. Did a little bit of artwork. You may not like it.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did a little bit of
Pretty
artwork.
good
I was
Are these-
honestly
Is there two of these or just one? Are these all the
just
same?
yeah, they're all the
Okay.
same. I tried to do some color on here, so I can give this to you here in a minute. But I really kind of like the way this looked. This
Oh, and
particular
there's-
bus, and I kind of it's not perfect, but I'm trying to give you an idea of something that we
Concept,
could
sure.
do, the concept, and I mean, if you want to change, the way the font looks, or you want to change that particular
I
graphic.
really like it, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we ought to try to keep it simple.
Who said that?
I said I do.
Who said they didn't?
No, I said I'm good with it, I do.
Oh.
I thought you might.
No.
But
No, I
you can see the back and just put the website. And I don't know if you want to put up there at the top, maybe gorillas, at the top with the website below.
The only
We
thing
could
I-
add.
What about Gorilla Pride instead of Gorillas?
And,
Gorillas?
well, yeah, and I was just throwing out things,
That would
you know.
fit. It's kind of hard to fit.
Right, right.
That would be good on
No,
that little area.
what's that area, 28 inches, about the same.
You want-
Just a little
height
space
and
right
width.
there.
Oh,
Huh?
On the back there, that little window
Yeah,
sticker,
yeah.
I've got one on my motorcycle.
Yeah.
That would look good in that little space right there.
Gorilla Pride.
Gorilla Pride, and then, or Gorilla Country, and then it says Solomon below, and it has just a little, I don't know, it's the little sticky window thing.
The black one?
Yeah, we
The
got,
black one?
I don't know.
It's kind of the
Abigail came
abstracty
home and
one?
said I
Oh.
needed to put it on my bike, so I did.
Oh,
That
is
one.
that
I've
the one
got-
she got for the preschool?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's a little window Klingon thing. I had-
But
I had a
just
bunch
some
of
little
them in there.
artwork like that's, like you said, a little abstract, just in that little space up there that's blank.
At the top.
Yeah, I don't think that looked too bad.
They're just a
That's
little-
fine. If you
no,
give me one, I'll.
Yeah.
my suggestion was,
And you want it to say Gorilla Pride in there?
Well, just
Well-
whatever it
But,
said. I think it says Gorilla Country and then Solomon at the bottom. It's just like, it would
Colored.
fit that little space there.
Color picture.
Let's
No,
see.
the other one, that one on there.
This one?
There, use
I
that-
said-
Use that design color.
Yeah, I kind of liked this one. I just think it looks sharp.
Well, that's Garnett,
Yeah,
the bold pups or
yeah,
whatever they are.
yeah.
Full on. You see that?
Kind of like that.
I said instead of the Gorillas right here, Gorilla Pride
Right,
or
Gorilla
something.
Pride there
Yeah.
instead.
I don't know.
I can change that. It's pretty easy.
On the top with your colors, are you kind of,
Hmm.
you fade and transition, is that dark a red to a white top or something? Is that what you?
Yeah, if you kind of look at that, maybe the Garnett picture, I just thought that, and I don't know if you want some gray in it, do you want a gray, another line that kind of, a small little line that runs off that red that's gray?
Now, what they charge with the more colors, the more pricing?
We basically,
we paid
they
for?
had a tiered graphics, and I selected the middle one. I think if we're way out there, I think they'll let us know, but I think we're pretty simple enough that,
Now, will they, when we give them an idea like this, will they take that and do a draft image and come back to us?
yeah,
Be a little bit-
yes,
a little bit
absolutely.
different or something.
Yeah, I just wanted to get something to kind of show them. What?
Nothing against your.
Yeah, no, nothing against
We're just thinking maybe.
Well, I just kind of cut
Well,
and pasted. and-
What I wondered on
I
the
was-
front of the thing, if it's gonna, that one's white on the front, isn't it, in that picture of,
Well, the top is.
I'm just thinking bugs.
Well,
I
there's
mean,
a-
I don't know.
There's the top kind of runs
Right.
red back here, and then it's kind of got, what looks to me almost like, the little bluebird
Right.
up there at the top. It's kind,
Like
it's
an
like
icon
white with,
slash
it's
hash
almost like a
slash.
wisp in there. So, I can basically say, what you did with the garnet, I mean, they're gonna know what they did. They're gonna
Right.
have,
Oh, I just like to wonder the front of it, how, of course, it's just as buggy at Garnett as it is here and driving.
yeah, exactly. You mean as far as this down in
The
here?
front, yeah, just
Yeah.
being plastered with bugs, all the
Right.
time, or, I didn't know if another color other than white.
But you're gonna
Oh.
go and clean it before we.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know if anybody's
Strip on windows.
talked to Chuck Henry lately, but I think that building's getting sold down there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I've
they
talked to,
contacted
We
him.
talked to
Okay.
the new owner.
Okay.
I've talked to the new owner
Okay.
about.
I think that's one of the reasons he wants to buy it, because he wants to rent us space.
She doesn't know how tight we are, does she?
Did you see the gorilla with his arms crossed?
Yeah, and we can do that too, rather
No,
than.
I was just wondering, I didn't know. I was just
Honest-
sitting here trying to figure out, the one pointing or not, holding his arms crossed.
I just kind of like the pointing one because it looks like, hey, we're coming to get you.
Yeah, that's a good idea, yeah.
We want the most aggressive looking thing we got. I'm an aggressive person.
Are the ones.
See that?
You remember this gorilla, right, Dana?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't. People will probably throw a fit if you want to go with gray, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, I don't know, I don't necessarily, I think gray could be used to outline, but I don't think the white's gonna be a problem. I mean, it's not gonna be more problem than yellow would be on a regular bus. You just have to keep it clean.
I wanted some lettering that was bold, but not just plain, and that didn't look.
Well, you could outline your black with the silver,
Well, this,
bring it
I
down.
don't know that
The
that,
gray or silver,
that
I'm
writing's
kinda
that
wondering
bad.
what,
Make it
rather,
pop that way.
I noticed down at the track meet at Harrington the other day that Osage County had a big bus like this, and it was parked among the rest of them, and they had across the top in the middle. But I wonder if it wouldn't make more of a statement to have gorillas across the top and then Solomon below or something like that.
I mean, up here, like something.
Like where they've got
here.
bulldogs on this one.
You mean?
Oh, up there and then down below.
You mean like here?
Yeah,
So put gorillas here.
yeah. I know the
That-
reason I say that is, we're really unique by that mascot.
Right, absolutely.
And,
So, and just do nothing here, leave this plain?
either put her picture, the picture of the gorilla or something. Maybe the one of the gorilla pointing that you've got on here as you meet him, and then the one with his arms crossed on the side or something,
Big
you know?
And then the other side doesn't get anything?
That's what I was wondering, that was my next
Well,
question.
it should.
I think it's the same
Will it be
thing,
the
won't it?
same thing?
It might-
Yeah, I was just gonna
Might
do.
be in a different.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
sorry, I wasn't gonna do it twice.
It's gonna be the
I
back,
figured you could probably get the idea
Okay,
if I
use
did
your
one side.
imagination.
it'll be the back side, it'll be the back of the gorilla though, on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. The back of his head, and his bottom,
Yeah.
Have you seen
for
them?
lack of a better description.
I like this, I like them both.
Maybe we ought to have the gorilla on the front pointing like that, and on the back of the bus is the back side. It's not a bad idea, really. You stop thinking about it. Picture of the back of him with the website below him.
Make it
Oh,
silvery.
Lord.
As he's driving away, you see the back of the gorilla.
Yeah.
Let's go no.
No, I don't think you're that far off. I
Disagree on
think that
that
looks
one.
pretty good, really do. I mean,
Great
Yeah,
job.
I'd be interested to see what their rendition would be when they can actually put it.
we just don't wanna let them get away with some
Do we have
geeky looking
to
gorilla.
vote on it or anything, or we
There's
just tell you we like it?
We kinda
Well,
call it like him and-
It's
yeah,
not
just,
final,
what I'm hearing is that you want gorillas up here and then leave this plain. Or do you wanna do
Either
a
the
face
picture
or
of the
something
gorilla.
like that?
Or the face of the gorilla, I don't know. Hmm?
I'm trying to see how big
I
that
like-
area is.
It just,
Looks like about
You have to
24
kind of
inches
See, on
tall.
this-
you have
it
to
was
get 'em in
plain.
there.
And that doesn't look bad, but I didn't know if you wanna take,
That's too much white.
it's too much
Yeah,
I
white.
think, I think if it's that
I
much
kinda like
space,
the idea of putting a grill on there, but I don't know.
You know, the Gorilla logo that might work the best on there is the, I don't know that I've got one here, but it's the one that's in the circle, where it's kind of looking sideways.
Oh, this
like on
one
the
here,
shirts
Back
that,
up there.
Well, it's similar to that, but
Is it
the
that
one I'm
one?
thinking of is more
Similar to that?
outlined. No, it's more outlined.
Is it this one?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, it's not
Looking
as many
sideways?
shades of dark.
Oh.
Are you talking about the one that's on our floor?
You're talking about the one that's
The
The
one that's on
basketball
the
floor?
basketball floor?
Yeah, it might be, I'd have to.
I just think that,
It's a sharper, you know, it's not gray and black, and I don't think that would look good. That needs to be something that's outlined.
I'm just gonna kinda throw my 2 cents out here, I don't know if it's worth anything, but I'm not sure you want two
different
different
kinds of
styles of
grill.
mascots on there.
Good
that's
point.
true.
Stay with one.
How about if we just send them the 3 or 4 different grills we got and have them put together 3 or 4 different suggestions and email them back to you? I'm sure they can do that, they're just doing it computerized.
Do they have a graphics?
Here comes the jungle.
Yeah, they have to have a graphics
Yeah.
person.
Oh, what about Welcome to the Jungle or something like that?
I thought about that, but I didn't know. If you want.
I think that looks really plain, the front of that bus, and in that picture.
Right,
Yeah.
on
so-
this, yeah, just too plain, and that's kinda why there's something on there, but
Can you imagine? No.
Yeah,
Let's not go there.
I do like that Welcome to the Jungle on this somehow, but
Maybe
What if
that
we
up top on the
put
hard-
Gorilla Pride on the front then and Welcome to the Jungle on the
back there.
side?
On the back.
Well, we want Solomon on there as much as we can get it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the side's probably the way we want, he's got it. don't you think?
Yeah, I like the side.
I like this.
yeah, and as big as they can get it down the side like that.
Yep.
And I like the website on the back too.
Yeah, I like that.
But I think, I do like gorillas up here.
yep. I'll
It
change
looks
that.
sharp
I
like
think that makes
too.
a statement when you meet it. I mean, that's something that,
Yeah, and keep it this font, right?
Mhm,
Like,
I like
like
the-
this font.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
like
threw a couple different fonts on there.
it's
just 'cause I
almost
wanted
like
to
a
see.
splash font, you know, or something like
Yeah.
that.
that. But
Like-
yeah, it's still real
Rather
legible.
than a
Right,
block, yeah, it's
right.
easy to read, easy to distinguish, so.
Just, like I said, just don't let the girl look goofy.
Well, we
Well,
got
there's
two or
too
three
many,
gorillas,
yeah.
I mean,
There's some of them that,
this one and the one crossing his arms, I think is pretty similar, that
Mhm. I like how you,
we've had comments
Point
before that they're way too
coming
mean
together.
looking, which I didn't agree with, but.
that message.
Well, this is the one that's
Show
on the
teeth.
flag.
Say that for
There's a
another
couple
This is the
of
one that's on the
Yeah,
flag.
The one on the flag,
Oh.
certain
The
people
one that's
didn't like
pointing
it
on the
because.
flag.
Well, and when we
And then-
travel, when we've traveled before, we've had people with the flags hang them out.
Yeah.
I wish we had the little flags, but we don't get that far.
I've got one.
Nope,
Okay.
nope, right there, for a fundraiser items.
No salt.
Thanks for that, I was gonna suggest that.
Yeah, those are good.
I've already
People
priced them.
would buy
Alright,
the.
so that's where you're going on that deal then,
$12 a piece.
Yeah.
right?
What?
We don't need to vote on
I,
that.
yeah, I just kinda wanted to get your, so you
I
want
think
little
that-
Gorilla Pride up here maybe, and then change this to gorillas, and are you thinking like a smaller one of these here? If we can put it there,
I would say so.
I say we gotta stay with the same theme.
What do
Yeah,
you-
Same logo.
Maybe the headshot of him or
yeah,
something,
just a
or,
head there,
Oh, yeah, what if we just put that head there?
Just the top of it.
yeah.
Mhm.
I'll bring you for one of those deals tomorrow so you
Okay.
can see it.
Before you put those on.
What?
Do you not read the instructions?
yeah, don't come back with that rendering.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Give
We
them that
have-
information,
but-
Jeremy, and give them the Gorilla Pride and Welcome to the Jungle, and see if they can make it look sharp on there
Okay,
somewhere.
all right.
And give us a couple of suggestions.
Okay.
Those graphic arts people, they'll come up with all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
Do they, do you have a
Too much,
delivery
make it
date?
hard.
Have they
Yeah,
given
when's the
you-
deadline, and we have to make a decision on that, you know?
I think they really wanna know something, by July.
So if
So next
they give
month.
us some stuff, we can decide next meeting,
Yeah.
okay? Good.
Good job. Good work.
Next item we have is F, consider moving the June 9th board meeting to June 16th. Mr. Boulder has a conflict that day, and he's requesting.
I know it's right, it's right between the
Negotiations.
negotiations.
That
So I
actually
guess,
works out really well, because I'd be in Nashville on the 9th, so I'm in favor.
And I don't have a
So-
problem if we work it out with the negotiator. I think it's important for us to have a meeting after
Soon
we
as
talk
you can.
tonight, have it before and after, because we're gonna be coming back from negotiations with some final, hopefully, some final recommendations that we want you guys to give us some head nod on that we can go to that last negotiations meeting with. So maybe, is it possible to change the first date to the second with the negotiator? Because I think we have the mediator,
Well, we have his 2 dates we have booked.
right, but
He
I'm
doesn't
saying.
have
we-
any dates beyond that.
Because we're already
Not
out
yet.
of our,
Huh?
You didn't have any, or?
No.
He
just
didn't have any.
Yeah, he didn't
I
have
took
any
the
of
only
the
2
dates.
dates he had in June. Now, I can call him and see if someone's canceled.
I
'Cause
mean,
right now,
I
we're
can,
the
I
fifth.
can try to work something out to get back maybe a different night or something.
I don't, is there a problem that we're moving it? I mean,
no, well, the only thing that we're trying to consider is that we have negotiations on June 5th.
Fifth.
We had the board meeting on the 9th and the final negotiations on the 12th. We have to have a
Oh.
board meeting in between
Right.
those to go back to the teachers group and say,
And I can be
this
here
is what we can do.
both on the 5th and the 12th. I can get back, but if
So
I
I don't-
need to arrange something so that I can come back, I just kinda, the 9th is,
Well, let's leave our fifth meeting, that's fine. And then if we move to the 16th, we'll just have to see if
What if we had a special
the
meeting?
mediator can do it after that sometime.
could we,
Can we have a special board meeting on the
That's-
Saturday before he leaves or something, just to go over it and get our, then we don't have to move. And then
Just
have
for
our
the
full board
negotiation.
meeting on the
that
16th?
would work,
We
I
could do
think,
that.
better for me,
When do you leave?
Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon.
Well, so we could have it either
Which is-
Friday or Saturday sometime, Saturday.
The 6th or 7th.
Mhm.
Does that work for you guys? Schedule one,
Seventh works better.
I'm with Tally, yeah.
I
every
would
day on
prefer
the
to
7th,
do
Saturday?
that.
We could do that
Early
just
possible.
for purposes of talking about negotiations.
Negotiations.
And that, just a short meeting just for that purpose,
Mhm.
And then move the meeting to the
to the
16th.
16th. Can we do that?
I'm good with that, I think.
Now, what time on the 7th can you guys be here?
6 o'clock in the morning. No, okay. Just kidding.
I'm up by 3,
8 o'clock
so that's
is
fine.
probably good for
Honestly,
me.
I'm
I'm
not-
only kidding.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter to
I-
10
me.
a.m. No, I don't know.
I'm good at 8 o'clock. To me,
I'm good.
I
Right.
wanna get it over with.
I'd rather do it early so I
Yeah.
can plan the rest of the day if that
8
works.
o'clock
yeah,
then?
exactly.
Okay, so we're
I don't sleep in.
I don't either.
on Saturday,
No board
the
meeting on the 9th at all.
No,
seventh.
no, no, meeting on the 9th. I'll have it on the
Seventh.
16th.
On the 7th, we'll have a meeting at 8 o'clock for negotiation discussions, which will most probably simply be an executive session.
Mhm.
And then we will continue our 5th. We're going to move the regular meeting from the 9th to the 16th. At same time, same place, right? Everybody in agreement with that? If you, okay, I will move that, what I just said, that we're going to have a special meeting on the 7th and switch the regular meeting from the 9th to the 16th. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Been moved by myself, second by Jessica to do that. All in favor, raise your left hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. So that will be our schedule for the month of June.
Yay.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for that. Supplemental contracts, I think we want to table that until after our executive session, do we not?
Correct.
And then the one other item I have here is to approve the staff listing.
Did you want to take care of math vacancy?
Yes, I've got that for, oh,
Okay.
yes, I got it out over here, right. Okay, we'll move back to letter H, excuse me. And we have one additional contract to approve for the, for a math position, and that is to approve a contract for Sharon Smarter, a 6th, 7th position as math instructor for the 2014-2015 school year. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe with that approval, that's done, that gets you up to speed with all the positions are filled for next year, correct?
Yes, with the exception of supplementals, yes.
Right, and I think that's great at this stage of the game. We weren't quite at that point last year, so. Okay. Are there any questions on the, getting Mrs. Smarter back? Before anybody changes their mind, do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second it.
It's been moved by Justin, second by Tally to approve the contract with Sharon Smarter for math instruction on the 6th, 7th position. All in favor, raise your left hand.
She'll teach 5 and have a 6th planning period.
Oh, we're talking hours.
It's 6th, 7th,
7th
yeah.
position.
And I am very pleased to see that Mrs. Smarter is a very good teacher. I'm glad to see her come back and join our staff. That's awesome. So,
She's excited to come back. She's
Good.
emailed me several times.
good. We're very excited to have her back, so. Okay, now we'll move back to the staff listing. We have been presented a listing of our staff that is recommended to retain for the 2014-2015 school year. I think we did this last year, but it's just kind of a gesture to let our staff know, number one, that we appreciate what they do, number two, that their jobs are going to be here after the summer, because I know sometimes many of them wonder, especially in the education environment these days in our state. So with that, I would entertain a motion to retain the staff as recommended for the 14-15 school year as printed.
I'll make a motion to approve what you said.
It's been moved by Justin to approve the retention of the staff as listed for and recommended by Mr. Boulder for the 2014-15 school year,
Second.
and second by Jessica.
Tina, did you get a list?
Are there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your left hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Pardon? Sure.
No,
She's
she's
out of
out-
line.
she's out of line.
Okay.
Oh, she's 305, okay.
She may not be though.
Okay, is there anything else besides the executive session at this point?
Student handbook.
Oh, yeah, we missed that, didn't we?
Teacher dinner thing.
Somebody's paying attention.
I did email
Teacher
that.
dinner.
You did
Oh,
email
I
that,
looked at it,
and I
yes.
did read it all.
We'll admit it, we got that one. Okay, the next item to consider is approval of the student handbook for the 14-15 school year. We've received that by email from Mr. Dooley, of which we're very appreciative. And it's very long, by the way.
My only question was, it contains the student handbook, the random drug testing policy, and the athletic handbook. The athletic handbook, do you want the coaching, the descriptions of the coaches in that?
I didn't, I was gonna,
No.
I can take it out.
You know, I don't think
I don't think it's
That
needs to be
necessary.
No,
Yeah.
it's definitely not necessary.
I can get rid of it.
Thank you for emailing them to us.
Are there any other concerns, questions, or that you have, or that anybody has before we?
Did you read it all, Todd?
Oh, I didn't read it all. I looked at it.
Did you maybe highlight some of the changes? that
Well,
we-
a lot of it. Changes, some of it was just minor wording of things. One policy is 15-day absent, we have a 15-day absent rule, that if a student's gone after 15 days, they don't qualify to pass the course unless they serve Saturday school to make up a day. Obviously, the bell schedule changes. Put it at the board or the Kansas Association School Board recommended wordage for online learning opportunities. We put that in there. I'll put that in there. A little bit more information on Salina Area Technical College seminar. A blurb on the seminar period next year. Changed the discipline, not a whole lot, I just made it a little bit more simplistic. Other than that, it's a lot of that's the same. Miss Edgar helped me with grammar changes.
Yeah.
Last year's student handbook. But other than those minor changes, everything's basically the same.
Okay.
And I did the random drug policy. I've cleaned up a little bit, and the athletic handbook I cleaned up Jim's grammatical errors.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the middle school, high school handbook, athletic book as what he said.
Okay. Been moved by Denise to approve the middle school, high school handbook as presented by Mr. Dooley.
I'll approve for a second.
Been seconded by Callie. All in favor, raise your left hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, the last thing we have is executive session. Is there in favor of taking about a 10-minute break?
Brad, what about future agenda topics? Did you need to do that?
Well, yeah, we can do that, I guess, right quick. Future agenda topics, I did say that we were gonna put that to the end, and we can do that right now. Good call. Does anybody have anything they'd like to see on the agenda in the future? Next month, we'll be considering Mr. Boulder's contract.
And Mr. Dooley's.
Oh, we gotta do him too?
On
Okay.
the extension, extension.
Yeah, the extension's a contract, so that's correct.
Poor Mr. Dooley.
He's gonna think we hate him tonight, isn't he? So, anything else for the June meeting?
Maybe an update where we are with the
Technology.
technology as far as, you know, what firewall we went with, all that fun stuff. And then just what our approximate lead times are and all that on the iPads, and or maybe they'll be in, who knows, but.
You want all the policies too next month?
Yes.
Yes.
We're gonna
I would
probably
love
shut
to read
down that
those.
this month, but, yeah. And we'll talk about, tech fees and that kind of thing. We'll have that lined out.
Cool.
Okay, anything else? If you do think of anything, why email Jeremy or Jessica or myself, and we'll make sure we bring that up and get it on the agenda next month. Okay, anything else to come before the board before we either take a break or go into executive session?
One thing real quickly, in the Salina Journal yesterday, there was a lovely article about
Oh,
Julia
yeah.
Mitchell.
Yes.
Yes, there was.
And in the Abilene Reflector, great article and picture with Mr. Boulder of Turning Castle.
Front page, yes.
Front page,
I was
yeah.
gonna
Very
bring that
nice.
paper tonight and I forgot it.
It's a very nice article.
Yeah, very nice.
Getting a lot of exposure, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You saw the one on Jessica Grant, one of our hires.
Yes,
Oh,
I saw
yes,
that,
yeah, that was a good one too.
At
My
Lake,
understanding-
Lakewood, wasn't she?
Mhm.
My understanding, Julia was one of 3 of the first students to go through VOTEC and get a concurrent,
Yes,
get
yes.
her associate's degree at the same time that she
Well, she didn't get her associate's.
got her
She got
certificate.
her certificate of completion.
Okay,
Yeah.
with her high school diploma, yeah.
With
Yeah.
working and being a single
With
mom.
working and being a single mom, quite an accomplishment. So,
Absolutely.
18-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very proud of her.
Very proud.
Okay, want to take a break? I move we take a 10-minute break, starting at 9:45.
Second.
Then second. All in favor, raise your left hand. We are recessed for 10 minutes.
Well, I did have Scott run a copy of the report. I apologize. I sent it to Mr.
Yeah,
Porter
you
last
did.
Wednesday, and I don't know if it
I guess that was the first time you'd actually sent it to me and not to everybody
I
else.
always send it to me.
She's like,
I wasn't used to sending it on.
And it said you were gonna look at it, approve it, and send it on, so I thought, okay, I'm out of this.
I probably did.
Tell you, my preschool got a big kick out of those butterflies as your kids did.
Remember, there's 2 cookies
It
left
went
over
really
here.
well this year. We had fun with it
I'm
all.
gonna take a plate and do 2 over here.
Yeah. I'm sorry we didn't warn them we were turning them out.
No, we did the butterfly thing too, because I was teaching them the whole thing, and it was really cool because we came in on Monday, we saw them coming out, we saw them just standing, just sitting there, and we saw them exercising.
Exercising, yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And
We
based
had a
on
good time with it this year.
answers, I've got to go through now research all that, so. That's why I figured we'd take. Thank you, pretty good.
See, you guys can see how austere we are. We have water, apples, and cookies. It's kind of like home.
You don't find many apples at my home,
Oh, well.
mostly cookies.
Oddly enough, I have it mapped out on which hotels give you fresh cookies when you check in.
Used to be the DoubleTree.
Yeah.
They still do. A lot of the Hamptons still do. Same as Fairfield do. It just depends on where you are.
Used to be some Best Western.
It's good to walk
Unless we're
around.
closer from here.
I'm used to not sitting. Used to chasing kids.
Just a regular Best Western.
Yesterday we went to the lake and walked around Milford for a while, so I'm,
And while I like being on the
We had
vehicle
fun.
is, the one I actually have to.
Jean Ann told me this morning, I didn't ask on Saturday, but I heard you got some good news there.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah, I was
stable.
gonna ask you, how's it
Mhm.
going?
Yep, the doctors, did an MRI and everything is stable. I'm still having concussion issues.
Is that what's in Dodge?
Speech.
The other junction says he's been over to see John and everybody else.
So you got one?
And that's what started everything.
The
That's
other
what
day,
go
he
get
was
me
so
started in the
good.
first place.
I don't think he's
So,
saying
and then they said that
but I don't know
when my
what's the
brain
name of the
swelled, there was this room.
Well, it's,
Are they selling cleaning supplies?
well, they sell office supplies, cleaning supplies, everything. It's a new company that started up and
So,
we got some comparables from them.
Well, that's what they told us with ambulance.
So we
There's
go and
a lot
actually
of people
got
have
buy
it
some
and
supplies
don't
for
know
our
it.
guys to cast.
They just stay dormant, and you never know what might trigger it.
They price paper
Tom's
towels
younger
and
brother has one behind his
all
eye,
kinds of
he's
stuff,
had
and
it
then
for
so
10
far they
years.
beat the prices
And
of
they just
everybody
keep
else.
just doing that.
Yeah,
Because
I
now he's
know.
even like, every so many years out, they just do checks.
well, that's what they told me. He's like, well,
It's pretty,
because I wanted her to go and care for herself because she.
Yeah,
was
we've
the one
got,
that
we've
was
got a
so
purchasing
great.
deal from the National Association.
The
of
alienated
Counties,
me out.
We very seldom
So,
use it because their price isn't as good as what we
She
can get
was
it
very impressed
from
with
a
the
couple of
doctor.
these other vendors.
So very glad.
That's awesome.
But,
Yeah. She
Yeah,
even
no,
did
make
coordinate
sure they
as
come
well.
out
We
and
could
get
hear
it.
him.
I might
If they're
try to
selling
remember.
service, I could use
Well,
them.
they're
One
changing
thing
this in
that-
their philosophy
yeah,
too,
one
that
thing
it's
that-
almost sometimes better to
It's
leave
kind of
them
my
alone.
pet peeve. but
That's
I
what
make
he
sure
s-
the
yeah,
kids out
that's
there
what he
are
said.
aware
He
So
said
they
he
don't
wants
buy
to
and
be-
say anything.
No.
Don't, yeah,
No,
don't.
he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to go in there.
not being, you know, they never work.
So,
Pull the paper
yeah, I
down,
was
or
very
sticking your finger in and
glad.
crank it thing where everybody else has
I
stuck their
didn't want
finger.
them to go there,
And,
but
you know,
Um,
I
You
like
might
to
as
watch.
well wipe your hands from your
They're
butt.
saying
Exactly.
that
The cows don't work
they're
anyway.
finding out
Well,
now that if they
Yeah,
go in
but you
there,
need to be able to wash
Yeah,
and then dry it
it
off.
spreads
And,
it.
I know, it is.
and this company, I asked him specifically because their paper is not 12 inch wide,
When
it's
her
9
vegetables,
inches
and I
wide,
just,
and it's considerably cheaper. So we tried it. And it works
It's kind of
just
interesting
like
too,
it comes
I mean,
different.
if you
Actually works in
take
the dispensers.
medication
We
for
got
it,
that
would that,
dispensers just fine.
would it
But,
potentially
I said, if somebody
cause
wants
it to
to
fight back?
If somebody wants to switch over that.
Yeah,
we
You know
can
what I
do
mean? I
Yeah.
don't
the
know.
machines for free.
that's what,
Because I had
that
asked
she had it,
That's usually our
it's
first
changing
question.
as we go.
And
And they're figuring that out, like chemo.
dispensers as
Yeah.
well.
For the brain, you can't
I
get
think
past
they're
that
so
blood-brain
thick
barrier, and
so
it just
expensive.
really does nothing
I
but
think
make
they're
you
so,
sick.
Don told me
And
that the
that's what they're
soap
getting new ways, and just go right to the tube. I mean, there's a lot of things coming, the gamma knife, you know, I was telling you about last time, a lot of different things, but it's tricky.
the kid
That's
just.
it, it does fight back.
Yeah, diploma or? It has the one special one that just goes straight, but it still affects some of the brain, it's not going.
Exactly. They can't
getting
pinpoint
yeah.
it.
I'm cool with not opening up everything. I made even pay though. I was like, what the hell is this?
That's awesome.
Why would that be your Yeah, when I called my mom, she was waiting by the phone all day. Back to my appointment with somebody.
Figured out your pool
Oh my
yet?
gosh, it was.
And even before you before you go.
Well, it was funny, I had 3 doctor's appointments that day. That must have been very much, and I checked my blood pressure.
By the time we got in and we unpacked.
I don't want to spend very much, as in, like, what, $1,500?
Send back, they said, "Three other questions asked." Second one,
$3,000, they're getting nothing. They'll find something for that.
it's exactly.
Where you've been looking.
Time in.
Just kind of keep an eye open.
I stood there inside the door and watched him, and he dropped it about 3 feet off the deal and
Really?
in the box. And
He just says, "I need one."
No, he didn't say it.
Really? Well, because you can drive yours.
I said, "Well, you're a
I'll take
liar."
you where you need to go, drop you off, Mom.
We had words. I said, "This is the 4th thing you've delivered to us."
And then a lot of
Sixth
times
thing
you
we
talk to
rejected
me.
it 4 times. I just watched it. You wanna kick
I was wondering, I didn't see your car out there.
Because then we have like 13 miles in it, you know, we got to extend it. But it's like the 2 days before, just like,
It's not there? Oh, he dropped it off?
you just hold your breath until we get her in there.
What quills
So
are
we'll see.
we get lost.
That's my quill is strong.
It doesn't matter how big the order is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've been real happy with the services for following.
But as we promote
Well, you know, like you said, it's like, you know,
business environment, that's
years, you know, some people even.
Was he there? Or just,
You don't know, because he said a lot of, right?
just knows that he ain't got out?
Well, and I would like to go to the promotion.
When they did that, because the one,
I really would.
that's
Because I don't want
What else are that bad?
what happened.
with me, I mean, my hands are wet, I grabbed the baby towel, pulled it out, and it always pulls off right there. So then you gotta crank it
St.
in.
Jude's, and,
So I'll walk out with my hands.
I mean, it's all,
I didn't used to worry about
like,
that.
oh, scared.
No. Every time I saw that,
Size of the baseball.
you know, you talk to the doctors, talk to the and that's all that, what's that stuff with the teacher invented?
in my order for
It was called, it's real high in salt.
Yeah.
Zinc and aluminum.
Because their mom was you need the breast cancer. They don't want you. Anymore. They're figuring out that spread microscopic cells. You know, and it spreads in other parts of your body because it gets in your bloodstream. Exactly.
So I was.
Never my fault,
But,
ever.
yeah, I was-
Never my
And
fault.
then I think yesterday was the So we went to the lake and we walked.
And you need that too. You need
Oh,
the
no,
soap.
Oh, yeah. All
Yeah, they
four
do
of
a
us.
full dress.
Yes, we ride it home.
We've been so, just crazy.
Well, no,
And yesterday was just awesome. It was just walked around the lake and
to the woman that they were taking, I didn't know she was there. She's got her, I said, "You wanna take it again?" She said, "Oh, I mean, I'll take it."
I bet so, because you were taking it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I had a man stand up there, nobody knew nothing. Michelle says, "You need to tell her that I want a picture of you, that you're my husband." It's no use, you've seen my back before.
Hit pretty hard.
She said, "Did you tell her I want a picture?" I know. I did. I told her she did that.
Bringing me down that
certainly then woke up
But I wish, sometimes we should report the number of hours that we put into that event. And it's not just the celebrations, that's huge. But the programs, the speeches, the orchestra.
Well, the things you don't know about with all the relatives, family, and friends, all the things, all the people traveling, we're going to Kansas City.
And what's your name? Yeah.
I will spend every arrangement in the year.
Jameson Betts are out there.
It was so
And we got the ball game. Jameson fell right in. And they said it just, it barely, we have a picture when you can see the baseball
It
seat.
was on time.
It went down this one past it, like gone.
On time.
So
It's already past midnight.
That's one of it.
Start snoring on us over here.
Long day, so.
I'm usually a 9 o'clock person.
They're not getting a whole lot shorter, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
I should be.
Future
Need
agenda.
to put it back.
Shorter meeting.
Is that mine or yours?
No, it's mine. It's just
I
empty.
thought it was through. Them are pretty neat.
I know, I like that yearbook, that's cool.
Okay, it's 9:55, we're back in session. And at this time, the one item we have left at this point is an executive session for non-elected personnel. Do I hear a motion to do so?
Make a motion to go into executive session for non-elected personnel for, 30 minutes?
We get her done in 30 minutes?
Oh,
Let's do
Probably
30
not,
minutes.
30
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Todd and seconded by Jessica to go into executive session for purposes of non-elected personnel for a period of 30 minutes. We'll start it at 9:57-ish and be back in 30 minutes. All those in favor, raise your left hand. All opposed, same sign, motion carries. I guess just for clarification, we'll want Mr. Wall and Mr. Dooley in here.
read the bottom of this?
Just read this comment part of it.
Kristen prepared it.
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
Evening custodian.
You have a run-in out there?
Huh?
Did you have another?
No, Mr. Boulder thought I was talking to myself.
Sorry, I do it all the time.
If you were.
Is he gonna recommend you up your
Everybody
meds?
else
Yeah, I was
What?
gonna up my meds, I guess, I don't know.
That's the only way you work some of that stuff.
Okay, we're back into regular session after a 30-minute executive session and an additional 15-minute executive session. We have one last thing to address, and that is the supplementals listing for 2014 and 2015. Does anybody want to take a stab at it?
I'll make a motion to approve the supplemental positions as amended.
Okay,
For the 2014-2015 calendar year.
okay, it's been moved by Jessica to adopt the supplemental list for the 2014-15 year as amended.
I'll second.
Second by Justin. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor raise your left hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, last item we have, I believe, unless I missed anything, is adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved by Justin and seconded by Jessica to adjourn. All in favor, raise your left hand. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Late on that.
That's all right.
Better late than never.
That's right.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want that